Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if child Naruto becomes a Pokemon master. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by guardsmansparky and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. In a village hidden in the leaves, the day's quiet tranquility was broken by the enraged shouts of an angry mob. Demon! Monster! Freak! Get him! Where'd he go? Setting her book down, the librarian looked out the floor-to-ceiling windows of the library in disapproval. The mob milled around, screaming obscenities about the target of their ire, before one member pointed and screeched out an alert. Over there! Get him! With that, the mob thundered off after what they thought was a little boy of 6 years, the same boy that had snuck into the library and had hidden behind some bookshelves. Naruto Uzumaki sniffled as he sat in a dark corner, tears leaving tracks in the dust over the 3 whisker-like scars on each cheek. His skinny, undernourished arms hugged his knees, his baggy and ratty clothes torn and soiled by the mob. He couldn't understand. Why did all the villagers hate him so? The librarian, hearing the sobs, closed her book and went to find the source of the noise, not recognizing the sounds as those of crying. She had an idea of who was making that sound, and she'd be damned if she allowed the demon child of Konoha to sully her library. Turning the corner, the sharp reprimand on her lips died on her tongue when she saw the mess that was Naruto. Suddenly, the librarian saw Naruto for who he was, not a demon pretending to be a child, but a hungry, lonely orphan hated almost universally by Konoha, the village hidden in the leaves. Suddenly ashamed, she turned away. Kid! Naruto looked up, eyes tearing over once more as he was sure the librarian was going to kick him out into the arms of the mob. Stay as long as you need. With that, the library scurried away, determined to do something right by the child for once. Naruto sat there in the dark for a long while, trying to figure out why the librarian hadn't thrown him out like each and every other time she'd caught him trying to read in the library. Deciding to take advantage of the librarian's offer before she changed her mind and kicked him out, Naruto dried his eyes and went to the history section. The history of the ninja village of Konoha, also known as the village hidden in the leaves, had always fascinated Naruto. The awesome powers of the Hokages, past leaders of the village, fascinated the blonde boy. He read about the first's ability to mold earth and water chakra together to create wood chakra, the second's affinity with water chakra that allowed him to manipulate the water in the air without a water source, the fourth's godlike ninjutsu that let him teleport instantaneously. But what captured Naruto's imagination the most was the summons of Hiruzen Sarutobi. As he read about the many battles fought and won by the third alongside his faithful monkey summons, Naruto came to the conclusion that if he were to become the next Hokage, he'd need an awesome and powerful summons of his own. Purpose in mind, Naruto stood and went to search for what information on ninja summons. So intent on finding what he was looking for, Naruto didn't notice how dark it had become outside, nor did he notice the sandwich left on a plate on the table for him. Since it was a civilian library, the information was limited, but from what he could gather, he puzzled out needing 3 things to summon. 1. He needed to be able to use chakra, a lot of it, but being only 6 years old, a lot meant different things than it did to an experienced ninja, or even a rational adult civilian. 2. He needed a contract, which to Naruto simply meant he needed a piece of paper saying let's be friends that both parties could sign. He felt that part was rather silly. To his knowledge, children didn't sign anything when making friends, but either way, wouldn't that mean he needed to find a talking animal to sign it first? The third part seemed rather simple to Naruto. All he needed to do to summon an animal to him was to make 5 simple hand seals while channeling chakra. Easy. Steeling himself for what he was about to do, Naruto cleared an area around him, and meticulously went through each hand sign a number of times, just to ensure he had it down. Once that was done, he found a blank piece of paper, and drew up a contract for whatever he summoned to sign. By 6-year-old standards it was airtight, and would hold up to any amount of scrutiny. To anyone else it simply read do swear to be best friends with Naruto Uzumaki, and agreed to help him become the best Hokage ever. This includes allowing Naruto to summon me so I can help him when he needs it, as long as I'm not busy and stuff. In return, Naruto will help me out and be a good friend as well. Deciding that this was the best contract ever written, Naruto began to make the required signs, instinctively pushing as much chakra as he could into his hands. With the final gesture, Naruto pushed his hand onto the blank summons contract on the floor with a cry. Summoning Te. There was a crack of power and light, and Naruto was gone. Chapter 2. Naruto opened his eyes to find himself floating in a dark void. Hello? Nothing answered. Before Naruto could start panicking, a dread feeling came over the orphan. Turning slowly around, he came face to face with a monster of evil and shadow. Screaming in terror at the eldritch abomination, Naruto tried to flee, but found he could do nothing but float there and thrash his arms and legs as the thing's shadowy tendrils reached out to do Kami knew what to Naruto. Help! Somebody, help! Just as the tendrils were about to coil around Naruto's ankle, a searing beam of light and energy pierced the shadowy horror, reducing it to ash and bad memories in a blink of an eye. Blinking away the afterimage of the blinding ray, Naruto followed its path to its source, an absolutely massive serpentine black, red and gray dragon with a yellow face mask and spikes and black tendril-like wings tipped with red. Screaming in more terror, Naruto tried again to escape. Calm, child. Giratina means you no harm. Naruto turned to find a towering gray goat-like being with what looked like a golden spiked wheel bisecting it. Flanking it on either side were two enormous dragons, one pearly white biped with pink highlights, and the other a quadruped of the deep blue of the deepest ocean with silver highlights on all fours. Three more beings smaller than Naruto flitted around them, one red, one yellow, and one blue. The goat being tilted its head in a nod. My name is Arceus, god of Pokemon. What is your name, child? Naruto swallowed nervously. And Naruto, and I'm going to be the next Hokage, believe it? Naruto paused. What's a Pokemon? A worthy goal for one with such potential. Arceus nodded, and gestured to itself and its companions. As for your question, we are Pokemon. Naruto started. Could Arceus read your mind? Yes. Now, how did you get here? Arceus tilted his head to the side. I see. Trying to summon a being from another plane or dimension without a target was very foolish of you, Naruto. If it weren't for Uxie here, Arceus nodded at the yellow being flitting around. I very much doubt that we would have been able to save you in time. Now, aside from that, I am afraid that I cannot help you with the summons at this time. Naruto's face fell, only to brighten again at Arceus's next words. However, I can send you a guardian, one who can teach you to use your gifts and your curse to your advantage? Naruto blinked at Arceus' words. Cursed? I am afraid that it is not my place to explain. All shall be revealed to you when the time is right. When that time comes, understand that the third cares for you very much, and that while he is wise and worldly, even wise men can make mistakes. Arceus raised his head regally. Now, it is time for you to return home. Watch for your guardian, you will know him when you see him. Arceus nodded to the dragons on either side of him and behind Naruto. Palkia, Dialga, Giratina, if you please. The three dragons moved to surround Naruto in a triangle formation, eyes glowing white as they used their powers. Palkia tore open the fabric of space below Naruto as Dialga did the same to the fabric of time. As the vortexes of space and time began to spin around the ninja aspirant, Giratina let loose with his power. The master of the void between dimensions, the renegade Pokemon's power flowed into the spinning vortex, connecting the tear in space and time to Naruto's home dimension. The creation trio's eyes returned to normal as the vortex of energy died away, the boy successfully sent home. Arceus nodded to the three legendary dragon types, dismissing them to return to their lairs. Now, who to send to Konoha? Ah, I know just the one. Naruto reappeared in the library in a flash of blue, purple, and pink light. Looking around giddily, Naruto decided to leave the building of knowledge before he got in trouble. As he ran out into the early morning sun, Naruto realized just how hungry he was. Jogging over to the market, Naruto began to watch the already packed food stalls with a barely contained hunger. He sat dejected, as the Chirika Ramen, the only place in the market that welcomed Naruto, was unexpectedly closed. He couldn't quite make out what was written in the note on the door, but Naruto had been able to pick out the words for family and emergency. Sighing, Naruto resigned himself to going hungry for the morning. As he got up off the crate, a shadow loomed over him. What do you think you're doing here, freak? Naruto turned around to find a very drunk-looking man seething above him. Naruto grimaced as the drunkard's foul body odor washed over him like a wave of rancid sushi. The drunk stepped forward with a snarl. I bet your th Rishin Mish Iam's Mothar had to go to th hospital. You put a curse on her, didn't ya? Naruto's head spun. The nice lady that gave him ramen, sweet, delicious ramen, was sick? I didn't. You bastard. You cursed Mishas to kami so gsd die. Naruto backed away fearfully from the growing crowd surrounding him. Panicking as the drunkard's thrown bottle of hard liquor smashed against the wall beside him, Naruto bolted. The reaction caused the crowd to come to a verdict, guilty. With an angry roar, the crowd became a mob as it began to hunt down the unfortunate child. On a rooftop above the market, a lanky figure in the uniform of the elite ANBU Black Ops wearing a ceramic dog mask cursed. When the third had asked for volunteers to covertly watch over and protect the son of his late sensei, the ANBU known to his peers as Dog was the first to volunteer. He couldn't have predicted the sheer amount of trouble the young Uzumaki would get into on a near-daily basis. And once again, it appeared that his young assignment was being chased by another mob of angry civilians. Looks like I'll have to genjutsu up a false Naruto for them to follow. Again. Sighing in exasperation, Dog began to jump after the mob from rooftop to get within genjutsu range. Naruto turned a corner into a dead end. Turning around, he started to hyperventilate as his escape was cut off by the angry mob out for blood. His blood. As the group slowly advanced with malignant intent, Naruto backed into a corner and curled up, praying to Kami and Arceus for a way out of his predicament. Atop the roofs, Dog cursed. His genjutsu wasn't powerful enough for a mob that size, necessitating personal intervention. Reaching up to grasp the grip of his ninjato, Dog instead fell flat on his bum with a surprised squawk as something blitzed by him too fast to see. Looking down into the alley, Dog's eye widened as he beheld the cloaked figure standing between Naruto and the bloodthirsty civilians. One arm was held out, with what Dog assumed was a black glove with a metal spike on the back pointed defensively at the mob. For a long moment, the world stood still. The instant one of the civilians stepped forward, though, the cloaked stranger exploded into motion. As a well-trained A&B veteran, Dog was nonetheless barely able to keep track of the stranger's movements. To him, it was like watching an artist at work, almost as good as the latest Ica Paradise to be published. However, if the stranger's actions were art to the A&B watching from above, it was a nightmare for the poor, idiotic civilians that foolishly chose to assault a child decreed to be under the Third's personal protection. Dog watched with interest as the stranger's glove was enveloped with what appeared to be lightning chakra, shocking several unfortunates into twitching unconscious heaps in the time it took a hummingbird to sneeze. Dog blinked as the stranger's other gloved hand was encased in ice chakra, freezing a dozen civilians in blocks of blue ice with unnatural speed. The remaining civilians fled in terror as the stranger's fists caught fire, nearly sending Dog's eyebrows through the top of his mask. Lightning, ice, and fire elemental chakra? Who is this guy? Where is he from? Dog frowned when he saw the stranger kneel before Naruto. His frown deepened when the cloaked stranger stood and picked up his young charge. Before he could intervene and request that the stranger put the kid down, the cloaked figure disappeared with a shimmer of movement. Dog cursed as he rubbed his face beneath his dog mask. The third would not be happy. Still, on the bright side, that lightning-covered punch that guy had used gave him an idea for his own technique. He'd have to report this in first, though. With a sigh, Dog shined away in a flurry of leaves. Naruto watched in awe as the cloaked stranger took down 24 assailants in the time it took him to eat a bowl of ramen from Ichirika Ramen. Even when considering how quickly Naruto ate their ramen, though, what fascinated the whisker-marked boy was that the guy in the cloak used elemental jutsus, sealless jutsus to boot. Wide-eyed in wonderment, Naruto watched as the stranger approached him, completely ignoring the fleeing civilians. As the hooded man knelt before him, Naruto started as he realized that the stranger before him was not a man. In fact, he wasn't even human. Kneeling before the amazed boy was a bipedal canine with a blue and black furred face. "Hello, my name is Lucario." Naruto swallowed nervously. Hi, Lucario. I'm Naruto." Naruto paused before tilting his head. "Did Arceus send you?" Lucario chuckled. "Yes. I am to be your teacher. Now, shall we be going?" Naruto frowned. "Going where?" Lucario chuckled warmly again. "To begin your training." Naruto grinned. "Great. What are we waiting for?" With another good-natured chuckle, Lucario picked up Naruto. "Hang on." Naruto clasped his hands around Lucario's hooded head. Extreme speed. With an unbelievable burst of speed and acceleration, Naruto found himself gaping at the colorful blur that the rest of the world had become. Just as he realized the sheer speed at which they were traveling, they suddenly came to a stop, the world snapping back into focus. Naruto looked in awe at the forest glade Lucario had stopped in. "Where are we?" "Somewhere I can teach you without interruptions." Naruto turned to find that Lucario had shed his cloak, revealing the tan fur of his stomach and the metal spikes on his chest and hands. The Pokémon sat cross-legged on a stump and gestured to another stump before him. "Come. Sit." Naruto sat cross-legged on the offered stump. "Now I understand that you are to enter school soon." Naruto blinked in surprise. "How'd you know?" "Arceus told me. He also told me of your current living conditions." Naruto slumped, hanging his head in shame. "There is no need to be ashamed. The circumstances are beyond your control." Naruto nodded, then tilted his head as something occurred to him. "How are you talking with your mouth closed?" Lucario hurfed a short chuckle. "It's an ability called telepathy." Naruto stared at Lucario in amazement. "You can read minds? Oh, so you know that word? I'm impressed. Most humans your age from my world wouldn't even know how to say that word." Naruto muttered something about libraries and hiding from mobs before allowing Lucario to continue. But no, I only have limited telepathy. I can project my thoughts to others' minds, but I cannot read them. Naruto frowned, scrunching up his face as he thought. How do you do that? It's merely an application of one's aura. Lucario-sensei, what's an aura? Aura is an energy that every living being in every cosmos possesses. They may not be able to feel it, or even know about it, but those who can harness their aura are capable of incredible feats. So it's chakra? That is another way it is known, yes. Now, let's get started. First, close your eyes. Feel inside for your aura. Chapter 3. 6 years later. Lucario was impressed with the progress his young pupil had made over the last 6 years. Under the steel/fighting Pokemon's tutelage, Naruto had learned a form of taijutsu that emphasized and encouraged his reputation as Konoha's most unpredictable. Although, while Lucario had redirected some of Naruto's more disrupting tendencies, the boy still pulled off elaborate pranks that resulted in multi-hour chases through the streets and over the rooftops of Konoha. While Lucario tolerated and considered these childish antics as good evasion training, he would be lying if he said he didn't get a good chuckle out of the pranks and subsequent pursuits. However, Lucario had quickly put a stop to skipping classes in order to pull off said pranks. An open palm strike passing a hair's breadth from his muzzle brought Lucario back to the taijutsu session at hand. Flicking out a trio of kicks, Lucario silently assessed his pupil's performance. In the 6 years since Lucario had taken Naruto Uzumaki under his wings, Naruto's skills in unarmed taijutsu had skyrocketed, making the blonde in the running for who had the best taijutsu in the academy, right behind Sasuke Uchiha. It also helped that Naruto had extraordinary stamina, thanks in part to the boy's tenant. Lucario parried and countered a pair of snapping kicks to the head and torso, sending Naruto sliding back several feet as the Pokemon recalled learning just why the boy had 2 aura signatures. 6 years earlier. Hiruzen Sarutobi frowned as Dog gave his report. You mean to tell me that you let a stranger, possibly a missing nin, with unknown abilities along with the ability to manipulate ice, fire and lightning elements knocked out a mob of civilians and took Naruto, and all you did was stand there? Dog nodded ashamedly. It happened so fast, I didn't even get a chance to use it. The third Hokage slammed a fist into the desk, splintering the aged wood. Damn it! We need to find him. Aside from the fact that he has the Kyuubi and who his parents were, we cannot afford another incident like the one we had with Kumo last year. Send out the NBU, hell, get Danza and his ilk to help if you absolutely have to, but we need to find him before anyone can hurt him. That will not be necessary. Sarutobi and Dog immediately dropped into fighting stances and prepared to unleash their jutsu against the cloaked intruder as the ANBU bodyguards in the rafters dropped down, surrounding the mysterious figure. Dog snarled at the cloaked intruder. You! Where's Naruto? He is safe in his apartment. Why should I believe you? Why would I come here to tell you if I was lying? Sarutobi dropped his guard slightly. Then why are you here? Because I was sent here to teach Naruto and protect him from those who would do him ill. Sarutobi dropped his stance completely, preparing a kawarimi just in case. And who sent you? Before I can answer that, what I say cannot leave these walls. Sarutobi nodded. If it will not hurt the village, then it will stay in this room. I am Lucario, a Pokemon, what you would call a summons. Dog and the ANBU who had dropped from the ceiling recoiled as the stranger dropped his hood, revealing a blue and black canine head. Yesterday, Naruto attempted to create a summoning contract in order to emulate you, Hiruzen Sarutobi, 3rd Hokage of Konoha, village hidden in the leaves. Instead, the boy reverse summoned himself into the void between dimensions. My lord Arceus and his kin rescued Naruto and sent him back here. While my lord could not yet create a summoning contract for Naruto, Lord Arceus promised to send Naruto a guardian and teacher. Thus, he sent me here to do so. Sarutobi nodded, stroking his beard thoughtfully. It is indeed fortunate that your lord was able to help Naruto. He always was lucky in that regard. I assume Arceus is a boss summons? We Pokemon prefer the title of legendaries, however, as the being who may or may not have created our universe, Lord Arceus is far beyond the level of boss summons. I see. Sarutobi and Dog exchanged looks. Good Kami, Naruto's befriended a god. Lucario sat cross-legged on Sarutobi's desk. Now I have a question for you, Lord Hokage. Why does Naruto have 2 Oahem chakra signatures? Sarutobi sighed and sat in his chair, dismissing Dog and the 2 ANBU bodyguards. I suppose if you are going to be teaching him, you will need to know the truth. 6 years ago, on October the 10th, the nine-tailed fox demon known as the Kyubi no Yoko attacked the village. The present day. Lucario returned to the present from his wanderings in his memories as Naruto deflected a kick powerful enough to shatter stone. Lucario blocked a similar kick, followed up by a pulled punch surrounded by lightning. Thunder punch. Naruto smacked upside down into a tree face first. Coming into a sitting position, Naruto rubbed the back of his head as he twitched sporadically from the leftover electricity. Ah, come on Lucario-sensei, you said no jutsu. True, but consider it a lesson not to trust your opponent to not fight dirty. Not everyone holds honor in the same high regard as you or me. Yes, sensei. You have done well with your training, Naruto. Now remember, tomorrow is your last chance to graduate from the academy as a genin. Yes, sensei. Do you remember why you failed the tests the last 2 times? Yes, sensei, I neglected my academic studies. But I'll pass this time, believe it. Lucario smiled. Good. I regret to say that I must return to my world for a while, as Lord Arceus has something I need to do. Naruto didn't look happy, but he nodded anyways. Yes, sensei. Good. Now remember to keep up with your aura control exercises, and I'll be seeing you before too long. With that, a pink gash was torn from the very air with a terrifying roar. Lucario nodded once to Naruto, who bowed in return, before stepping through the spatial rend. Once Lucario was through, the spatial rend snapped shut like it had never been there in the first place. Naruto put his goggles back on before running through the trees back to Konoha. Naruto sighed dejectedly as he sat atop the Hokage memorial. He couldn't understand it. He had studied so hard, and yet, none of the questions on the test had made any sense, and some of them he hadn't even seen the source material for. Sure, he could have passed if he had been able to successfully complete the 3 Academy Jutsus, and while he had completed the Henge and the Kawarimi successfully, his earth clones and water clones ended up looking like wax figurines someone had put in an oven. Damn it. Naruto slammed a fist against the rock, leaving a small dent. It's not fair. I was so close. I'll never be Hokage now. Hey Naruto. Naruto looked up. Oh, hey Mizuki-sensei, what's up? The Hokage has given me permission to give you a special test to see if you truly are worthy of becoming a ninja. Naruto looked at Mizuki. Why? Mizuki frowned. Because it's come to light that some of the senseis may have been trying to make you fail. Naruto's eyes lit up. So, I get another chance? To become a ninja? Mizuki nodded. Naruto started jumping for joy, until he remembered Lucario's words. Not everyone holds honor in the same regard as you or me. Naruto kept up the grin though as he thought about what he was going to do. So, what's the test? I'll pass it no problem, believe it. Naruto sat on the log as he read the scroll of seals from Old Man Sarutobi's office. Shadow clones, huh? Sounds like fun. Let's try it. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. With clouds of smoke, the small clearing was suddenly filled with half a dozen shadow clones. Sweet, it worked. Believe it. Naruto was knocked over by the shadow clone's massive shouted catchphrase. With a giggle, Naruto dispelled the clones. Awesome. Naruto. Naruto looked up to find his academy teacher Iruka Umino standing over him. Oh, hey Iruka-sensei. You're not supposed to be here. Iruka had been about to tell Naruto how much trouble he was in, but Naruto's serious and uncharacteristic reply had thrown Iruka off. What? Before Naruto could tell Iruka the plan, Mizuki dropped down in front of Naruto, not noticing his fellow teacher from the academy. Naruto, give me the scroll. No. What? I said no. Mizuki looked ready to strangle Naruto before Iruka jumped between Naruto and the traitor, decking Mizuki with a well-placed right cross. Mizuki jumped back and looked at Naruto with such hatred that Naruto could only stare as the traitor threw a massive shuriken half as long as Naruto was tall at him. Naruto stared in horror as Iruka jumped in front of him and took the shuriken in the back. Iruka-sensei. Naruto, run, get the scroll away from here, it contains high hidden jutsus that could put our village in danger. I know, sensei. What dash? Mizuki interrupted Naruto and Iruka's conversation with a disturbed laugh. He just doesn't want you to have the power on that scroll, Naruto. No, you're lying. Stop lying, Mizuki. Iruka coughed up blood as he yelled at the traitor. Me lying? Mizuki gave a deranged chuckle. If anything, you're the one who's lying. Allow me to reveal the truth to you. No. Iruka tried to stand, only to fall to his knees as his legs gave way. Don't do it, Mizuki. Do you want to know why everyone hates you? 12 years ago, a nine-tailed fox demon attacked the village. When it was defeated, the fourth Hokage sealed it inside you. Naruto took a step back. What? No. Everyone hates you, even Iruka. Why, you're wrong, I don't hate him. Naruto looked at Iruka, who finally managed to lurch to his feet. It's true, I used to think of Naruto as Jianenji as the demon, and blame him for my parents' and friends' deaths, until I saw the pranks he did. Just trying to get attention, Jaya, just like I used to. When I saw that bit of myself in Naruto, I realized that you can seal a kunai in a scroll, but that scroll won't be a gakunai. Mizuki stood there picking at his nails, looking bored. Yes, that's very touching, but I'm afraid it's time for you to die. Mizuki drew his second large shuriken. Die. The windmilling blades flew towards Naruto. Iruka tried to protect Naruto a second time, but his jump turned into a collapse as his legs gave way. Naruto merely glared at Mizuki before blitzing a series of hand signs. Mamoru! A shimmering barrier surrounded Naruto just as the windmilling shuriken reached him. Bouncing off the barrier, the shuriken smashed into a tree off to the side, several severed branches and limbs falling to the forest floor. Mizuki nearly fell off his branch with astonishment. What? What the heck was that? Iruka wanted to know the same thing. The only jutsu he'd seen even remotely similar to that barrier was the Hyuga clan main branch's Hakusho Kaiten, but that required the user to spin in place and expend an exorbitant amount of chakra. Naruto hadn't even had to do that. Boy, were the Hyuga gonna be mad. Naruto gave a grim smile. That was a technique my master calls protect. It creates an impenetrable barrier that surrounds the user. Timing is key though, it only lasts a few moments. Sure enough, the shimmering barrier flickered and died. Now let me show you what else my sensei taught me. Naruto crossed his arms. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. The clearing was filled with smoke. When it cleared, there were dozens of Narutos around the clearing and in the trees. The original pointed a finger at a suddenly sweating Mizuki. Get him! Mizuki shrieked like a girl as the army of orange jumpsuit-clad clones jumped him. However, Mizuki quickly regained his composure long enough to dispel several clones before the rest began to play badminton with his body. Ow! Stop! Doing! Ow! That! Ow! Put! Me! Down! Naruto looked to his clones. Well, you heard him. Put him down. With that command, one of the shadow clones jumped up and spiked Mizuki into the soft earth of the forest. Ow! Naruto cracked his knuckles as Mizuki staggered to his feet, spewing all sorts of blue invective at the blonde boy standing in front of him. Okay boys, let's finish this. Naruto began to rapidly spin his arm, channeling chakra into his fist, creating a vacuum as Mizuki moved in for the kill. Shinkaname! Naruto's fist snapped out in a punch as the vacuum shot a shockwave at Mizuki with a loud crack. Mizuki staggered back before being sent flying through a tree as the shadow clones followed through with their own vacuum waves. His body snug in an impression of himself in a tree, Mizuki groaned, a high-pitched, squeaky thing, before mercifully passing out. Iruka sat slack-jawed as Naruto dispelled the shadow clones and reeled back from the memory backlash as he received each clone's memory. Whoa, didn't know they did that. Iruka could only stare at the boy walking towards him. There was no earthly way Naruto should have failed his last graduation exam, much less the first two. It made Iruka suspect that some of his fellow academy teachers had been intentionally sabotaging Naruto's learning career. He'd have to discuss this with the Hokage. But right now, he needed to right a wrong. Naruto. Come here and close your eyes. Naruto walked over and knelt by the sprawled-out Iruka. What's wrong, Iruka-sensei? Just close your eyes. Naruto closed his eyes. He felt Iruka doing something with the goggles resting on his forehead. Naruto, it is my greatest pleasure to say that you are now a graduate of the Konoha Ninja Academy. Congratulations. Naruto just about jumped with joy when he felt the Konoha headband that used to be Iruka's on his head until he heard Iruka grunt. Ugh. Iruka contorted in agony. I'm gonna need a medic. Naruto patted Iruka carefully on the back. Don't worry, Iruka-sensei, the ANBU should be here shortly. The ANBU had this all planned, didn't you? Yeah? Naruto scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. Well, something Mizuki said rubbed me the wrong way, so I WNET to the old man, and well, went from there. Iruka shook his head. And people think you're a dense knucklehead. Boy, were we wrong. The ANBU arrived shortly thereafter, to Iruka's and Naruto's relief. Hey cat! The ANBU wearing a cat mask that Naruto had addressed nodded. We'll take it from here, Naruto. We'll be talking with you later. For now, you may go home while we deal with Mizuki and the scroll of sealing and get Irika to the hospital. Naruto watched as Irika was carefully placed on a stretcher. The Scarface teacher turned his head to Naruto. Remember, graduation is on Monday. Don't be late. Naruto grinned like an idiot as he replied. Don't worry, Irika-sensei, I wouldn't miss it for the world, believe it. Irika watched as Naruto bounded away. Make me proud, kid. Chapter 4. Naruto sat in the back corner of the classroom, feet up on the desk as the rest of the class filtered in. A feral-looking boy with red triangular marks beneath his eyes sat backwards at the desk in front of Naruto, a small white puppy sitting on top of his head. What are you doing here? You failed. Seriously, what are you even doing here? Naruto sighed, shaking his head. First off, I did pass, Kiba. See the headband? Apparently, several of the senseis were screwing with my homework and training and trying to make me fail so that I'd never become a ninja. Naruto gave a foxy-looking grin. It didn't hurt that I took out a traitor that night either, believe it. Kiba shook his head in disbelief, eliciting a startled yelp from the puppy on his head. Sorry, Akamaru. He turned his attention back to Naruto. Why the hell would they do that? Can't say, it's an S-class secret. Kiba seemed to turn red for a moment before settling down. Is that what happened to Mizuki-sensei? Naruto shifted in his chair. Maybe. Before Kiba could say anything else, Irika entered the room. Quiet. Thank you. Now, I'm going to hand out team assignments. Team 1. Sensei, why is the dobe here? Naruto glared at the arrogant-looking raven-haired boy that spoke up. Stupid Sasuke team, obviously I've graduated. Can he see the headband? Irika answered Sasuke's question before Naruto could make a retort. Because, Mr. Uchiha, while Naruto's grades weren't enough to pass, said grades do not reflect Naruto's skill due to tampering by certain people who shall remain unnamed for the time being. Now, as I was saying before I was interrupted, Team 1. Naruto phased out Irika's voice as he spaced out into that place he went when he was deep in thought. Idly wondering what Lucario-sensei was up to, Naruto recalled some of the training the Pokemon had put him through. Elsewhere. Magma boiled and bubbled beneath as Lucario leaped from rock to rock across the lake of molten rock. Reaching the wall of the cavern, the fighting/steel type began to climb. Leaping from ledge to ledge, outcropping to outcropping, handhold to foothold, Lucario made his way to an opening leading to the innermost chambers of this long-dormant volcano. As he entered the final cavern, a blast of furnace air stopped Lucario in his tracks. Who dares enter my inner sanctum? A great, golden eye cracked open and gazed down at the smaller blue and tan Pokemon below him. Oh, it's you. What does he want now? Lucario knelt, one paw to his chest, the other to the steaming rock beneath. Greetings, my lord. Lord Arceus has given me a proposal for you to consider. Naruto snapped out of his reverie as he heard Irika call his name. Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, and Sasuke Uchiha. Your Jounin sensei will be Kakashi Hatake. Team 8. Naruto groaned, not hearing what Irika said after the announcement as he lamented his team assignment. Oh lord, Sakura I can deal with, she's okay, despite the fact that she keeps hitting me and won't stop drooling over Sasuke team. But Sasuke, how am I going to deal with all that emo? Naruto mused silently as team assignments continued to be called out. I gotta figure out some way to fix that HM. So, this doodad you were talking about, if I agree, there's a possibility I'll be able to fight powerful opponents. Lucario nodded, panting slightly from the excessive heat emanating from the being before him. Precisely, however, the energy cost would make it so that your presence on the battlefield would be rare. That just means I'll be fighting powerful opponents. If they're anything like that damned blue windbag and the green one, hee. Where do I sign? Naruto scowled as he looked at the clock on the wall. Right, if our new sensei is going to be this late, he has it coming. Chuckling darkly, Naruto pulled out a brush and sealing paper. Oh, this was going to be good. Sakura glowered at the chortling blonde before sidling up to the slouching Sasuke. I bet Naruto's up to no good. What do you think he's doing, Sasuke? Sasuke didn't even look. HN. Naruto began to giggle demonically as he began to set up around the door. Oh man, I can't wait to see the look on his face. Naruto returned to his place, the look of sadistic glee and schadenfreude on his face sending shivers down Sakura's and Sasuke's backs. Naruto did not have to wait long. Kakashi Hatake looked through the door window at the 3 genin that he would be teaching. Or rather, failing, seeing as no team of genin had yet to pass his tests. He quickly began to analyze the ones he was expected to train. Kakashi looked to the black-haired boy. He was wearing a dark blue shirt, the red and white fan symbol of the Uchiha clan on the back. Sasuke Uchiha. Last of his clan, doesn't have a Sharingan yet. Avenger, possibly Amo. Yeah, I can work with that. He then looked to the pink-haired girl gazing adoringly at Sasuke in her red battle dress and black shorts. Sakura Haruno. Daughter of civilians. Not a lot of chakra reserves, going to have to build those up. The potential is there. Those fangirl tendencies will have to go though. Still, she does have potential. Kakashi turned his attention to the final member of his team. Naruto Uzumaki. My, have you grown? Kakashi frowned beneath the mask that he always seemed to wear. I could have sworn he was obsessed with the color orange. What happened to the Kill Me Orange jumpsuit? Unknown to Kakashi, as soon as Naruto had graduated the Friday night after Mizuki had shown his true colors, the first thing he did was buy decent clothes under a henge. Seriously, why hadn't he thought of that sooner, and burned his blindingly orange jumpsuit as soon as he returned to his apartment? Now, he wore dark blue shorts and a tan t-shirt with short, black sleeves. Kakashi regarded Naruto carefully. Let's see, whoa, chakra off the scale, yup, there's Sensei Seal, well, that's still fine. Not as malnourished as I thought he'd be, that's good. Although, the third did tell me someone has been looking out for the kid, so that's not a big surprise. I do know he likes pranks. How he painted the monument without being caught, and in broad daylight to boot, is beyond me. Kakashi took note of the fingerless black gloves with engraved metal plates on the back. Those gloves have few injects seals on them. Wonder what surprises are in them? Well, no sense in delaying any further. Kakashi gripped the handle and pulled it to the side. The door slid open, dropping the eraser from the chalkboard. However, the masked Jounin entering the room quickly leaned back, avoiding the falling eraser. He looked at the three graduates in the room, the one eye not hidden behind his plaited headband giving them an unimpressed look. You're going to have to try a lot harder than that too. A hissing from above him made the silver-haired Jounin look up. Shit. With a final sputtering hiss, the explosive tag curled around several pieces of chalk went off, covering the immediate area around the doorway. When the chalk dust settled, Sasuke gave a wry smirk, Sakura covering her gasping mouth. Haha, direct hit, as Naruto fell out of his seat laughing at the now albino Kakashi. Kakashi glowered at the three 11-year-olds. Okay, my first impression, you're a bunch of idiots. Now come meet me on the roof. With that, Kakashi shunted away in a swirl of leaves and chalk dust. Sasuke immediately dashed out of the room, Sakura chasing after him with hearts in her eyes. Naruto shook his head, deciding to take a shortcut. Concentrating, he sent chakra into the seals on his gloves. Kinzokutsu. Metal Claw. With a flash, the back of Naruto's wrists and hands were covered by arm guards with two razor-sharp blades extending out over his knuckles. The tips of the 4-inch blades curved into deadly-looking claws. Hooking his talons onto the outside of the wall above the window, Naruto began to claw his way up to the roof, iron blades digging into cracks in the wall. Quickly reaching the ledge surrounding the roof, Naruto flipped over the railings, resealing his Kinzokutsu into his gloves. Kakashi nodded. Blades sealed in the gloves. Maybe you're smarter than you look. Naruto snorted. Believe it. Sasuke slammed open the door to the roof, followed shortly by a gasping Sakura, both panting from running up the stairs, while Naruto wasn't even breathing hard from his arguably more strenuous vertical climb. Well, now that we're all here, tell me a little something about yourselves. Naruto scratched the back of his head. Like what? Oh, your name, things you like, things you hate, your dreams, your hobbies, things like that. Sakura clasped her hands together. Why don't you show us how it's done, sensei? Alright. Kakashi leaned back against the railing. I'm Kakashi Hatake. Things I like and things I hate, I don't feel like telling you that. My dreams, I had a dream last night. My hobbies, I have lots of hobbies. Ignoring Naruto's facepalm, Sasuke's indifferent eye-rolling and Sakura's face-plant, Kakashi continued. Okay, Pinky, you first. My name is Sakura Haruno. I like Sakura blushed at Sasuke. Things I hate, she glowered at Naruto, making him wonder what he did to deserve that. My dream, she blushed at Sasuke, much to his disgust. My hobbies. Naruto snorted. Chasing and drooling over Sasuke Team OW. Naruto fell on his face, twitching as a red-faced Sakura pulled back her fist from bashing the top of Naruto's not inconsequently thick skull. Kakashi just shook his head mentally at their antics. He pointed to Sasuke. Okay, dark and brooding, your turn. Sasuke gave a long-suffering sigh, rolling his eyes as he did so. He began to speak in a monotonous way. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I hate a lot of things. And I don't particularly like anything. At this, Sakura awed in disappointment. Sasuke ignored her as he continued. I don't have a dream, because I will make it so. I will restore my clan and kill a certain someone. Naruto, having no idea what Sasuke was talking about, shivered as he hoped that the Uchiha's target wasn't him. Kakashi mentally shrugged. Just what I thought. Kakashi looked to Naruto. Okay, Blondie, your turn. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, playing pranks, ramen, training, and ramen. I dislike traitors and people who hate blindly. My hobbies are training, eating ramen, and gardening. My dream is to one day be Hokage, so that I can protect those who can't protect themselves. Believe it? Kakashi nodded. An excellent and worthy goal. Even after all he's had to go through. Sensei would be proud. Well, now that we all know each other a little better, we'll meet tomorrow for our first mission. At this, Naruto began to jump in place excitedly, ooh-ing in anticipation before he centered himself and calmed down. Kakashi noticed his self-control with interest before continuing. It will be a mission we all do together. What? It wasn't a question that came from Sasuke, but an arrogantly delivered demand. A survival exercise. Meet me. But we already did this stuff at the academy. Why do we have to do it again? Kakashi glanced at Sakura lazily, before chuckling creepily. Because out of the 27 of you that graduated, only 9 of you will become genin. So, if you'd rather not do this. Naruto spoke up quickly. No sensei, we'll do it. Right, guys? Yeah? HN. Good. I'll be the judge of whether or not you become ninja, so bring your ninja gear to the designated training ground at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Kakashi's shun shined away in a swirl of leaves. Oh, and you'd better skip breakfast if you don't want to throw up. See ya. And with that, Kakashi left the 3 graduates to their thoughts. So, how do I seal the deal? Lucario produced a round red and white device from a bag he wore. All you have to do is place a drop of blood here on the button. A mammoth steel gray claw hovered above the round device, a drop of blood hanging off the tip. With an almost unperceivable plip, the drop splashed on the raised button of the device. Soaking in the blood, the ball glowed red before returning to its original state. Is that it? Yes, my lord. Great, now get lost before I change my mind and make a snack of you. Bowing one last time, Lucario took his leave from the realm of the continental Pokemon. Naruto stood thunking his head repeatedly against one of the 3 posts standing in Training Ground 7. Sasuke and Sakura, though as bored as Naruto was waiting for their absurdly tardy sensei, were staring in morbid fascination at how Naruto was bashing his head against the wooden post hard enough to splinter it without any ill effects. Sasuke was the first to speak. Dobe, how are you not hurting yourself? Naruto stopped banging his skull against the post long enough to respond. It's a technique called Tetsuboi, iron defense, where one channels enough chakra into their skin to make it as hard as iron. I'm trying to get it so that I can do it without thinking about it. I'm not having as much success as I wanted though. It still hurts. Ow. Naruto pulled his head back from where he bashed it against the post at his last words. Right now, I can withstand blunt force some. Sakura offered a word. Trauma? Naruto nodded. Yeah, trauma, but sharp stuff can still cut me. Still, once I perfect it, with the Tetsuboi and the way I can heal so fast, I'll be unstoppable, believe it. Is that so? The 3 academy graduates turned to see Kakashi standing at a large stone covered in names with several bags in hand. You're late. Naruto, Sasuke, and Kakashi winced in pain at the pink banshee's screeching. Naruto wriggled a pinky around in his ear, muttering to himself as he did. Sweet Arceus, that was worse than one of Lucario sensei's screech attacks. Kakashi glanced at Naruto, remembering the cloaked figure from 6 years ago before turning his attention back to his students. I got lost on the road of life. Naruto rolled his eyes. Sure. Kakashi waved a hand flippantly. Anyways, let us begin the test. I have 2 bells. If you don't want to go back to the academy, you need to get a bell. What? But there's only 2 bells. Naruto clutched at his poor aching ears. Yo, you wanna say that again? I can still hear out one ear. Well, Kakashi gave a disturbing smile, or at least, that's what the 3 graduates thought from the way his one visible eye seemed to squint and sparkle as he placed an alarm clock on a stump. Then I guess one of you will be going back to the academy, huh? Another eye smile. Be sure to come at me with the intent to kill. You have until noon. Begin. The 3 would-be genin dispersed into the trees. Naruto unsealed his clawed gauntlets, and used them to scale a taller tree. Perching on a large limb and resealing his gauntlets, Naruto closed his eyes and began to channel chakra to them. Sensho no Nai, or a sense. The darkness behind Naruto's eyelids began to glow blue as several blue figures danced before him, the thermovision-like patterns of different chakra signatures allowing Naruto to see through the trees of the forest. A sharp, piercing scream of terror caused Naruto to extend his aura sense to his west, eventually finding a glowing signature lying on the ground several hundred meters away. Welp, unless Duckbutt can scream that high, I'm gonna guess that was Sakura. Wonder what Sensei did to her. Where is Kakashi-sensei anyways? Naruto swept his aura sense to the east. Hello? Naruto observed a large aura signature moving through the woods, the chakra radiating from the body in question. Sweet Kami and Arceus, even his aura signature looks like a duck's butt. Naruto gawked as an even larger aura signature he could only guess was Kakashi-sensei began to battle with Sasuke. However, the fighting, if it could even be called that, was over as quickly as it started, as Kakashi appeared to dive into the ground before pulling Sasuke down until only his head was free. Naruto began to chortle until he realized that Kakashi's signature had vanished. Weird a chill scurried down Naruto's back as he realized that someone was very close behind him. Hey Kakashi-sensei. I saw what Chad did to Duckbutt. Naruto didn't dare turn around or move, while Kakashi looked at the obscuring foliage, wondering how Naruto had witnessed that. So, what did you do to Sakura? Oh, nothing really, just a genjutsu of a dying Sasuke. Using her fangirliness against her, huh? So, what you got in store for me? Naruto gulped silently as he got ready to run as surreptitiously as he could. He didn't know how, but somehow Naruto just knew that Kakashi was eye-smiling at him. Oh, nothing much, just something I like to call Kanohigakur Hiden Taijutsu Oji, Senin Goroshi, Hidden Leaf Village Secret Finger Jutsu, 1,000 Years of Death. At those words, Naruto tried to jump away as Kakashi made a tiger seal with his hands as he thrust them forward. Yarg! Propelled by the jump and the chakra-enhanced strike, Naruto went flying through the air at the speed of a well-thrown kunai as he clutched at his bottom. With a final scream of humiliation and pain, Naruto crash-landed in the clearing. Ow! Sitting up, Naruto saw Kakashi standing there before him, nonchalantly reading a small orange book like he didn't have a care in the world. Is that all? I would have thought you'd do better. Oh well. Kakashi shrugged and went back to reading his book. Naruto snarled at him. Try this on for size. Yoma Lear. Kakashi staggered back, the sheer weight of the focused killing intent making him momentarily drop his guard just long enough for Naruto to snag one of the bells. Naruto jumped away, grinning like an idiot as he landed next to a tree. Ha! I got one YRGH. Naruto found himself hanging upside down by one foot, a strand of ninja wire swinging between his ankle and the branch above him. Naruto looked at the branch, then the wire, then the bell lying on the ground where it had been dropped. Well, nuts. The rest of the test did not go well. As the only one who had managed to take a bell during the test, what with Sakura passed out, again, after finding what appeared to be the talking head of Sasuke and Sasuke still stuck up to his neck in dirt, Naruto was the only one who was given a lunchbox, with Sasuke and Sakura tied to 2 posts. The only reason Team 7 passed their Genin test was because Naruto disregarded Kakashi's direct orders and shared his meal with Sasuke and Sakura. Kakashi showed up with a smile, having left to watch in secret, telling the 3 that they had passed, because those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their teammates are worse than trash. And with those words, Kakashi had dismissed Team 7 for the day, with the exception of Naruto. At the moment, Naruto was sitting before Kakashi. So what? The scarecrow of a Jounin tilted his head. So how'd you know what I did to your teammates? I know they weren't visible through the trees from where you were. Naruto pursed his lips, before deciding that telling his new sensei wouldn't hurt. It's a technique my first sensei taught me that lets me see the aura, the chakra leaking off of people. I can't really move while using it though, cause so far I can't use it with my eyes open yet. Kakashi nodded, tapping a finger to his chin. Think you could teach me how to do it? Naruto shook his head. No. I can only do it cause of cuddles. Cuddles? Cuddles. Naruto held a hand over his stomach, more specifically, the seal containing the Kyuubi no Yoko. Kakashi stared at Naruto, trying to comprehend what he just heard. Cuddles. You call the most powerful demon to have walked this earth Cuddles? Naruto nodded. Is Cuddles how your killing intent was able to make me freeze? Another nod. How long have you know about Cuddles? Well, 4 years earlier. Naruto came bouncing into the forest clearing outside of Konoha. Hi sensei. Greetings Naruto. How was your day today? Lucario was seated in a meditative position, shut eyes glowing as he observed the world through his aura sense. Terrible. Naruto stuck his hands in his pockets and kicked at a small rock. Teachers still won't teach me anything. Only reason I learn anything is cause of you and the nice library lady. The only teacher who actually teaches me is Irika-sensei, but he won't be teaching my class for another 3 years. Naruto sighed. They were supposed to teach us how to get out of a genjutsu, but all they did was throw me in one and fail me when I couldn't break it. It wasn't my fault they didn't tell me how. Lucario didn't move from his seated position. Well then, it is a good thing that I requested for Lord Arceus to send you someone to tutor you in the mental arts. Who? Naruto looked around the clearing, but couldn't find anyone else. Where is he? Lucario smiled warmly. He should be here shortly. No sooner had Lucario finished speaking, a pinkish portal was ripped out of the very air. Out of the tear in reality stepped a large, gray-skinned, bipedal cat-like humanoid. No sooner did its thick, purple tail clear the edge did the spatial ren collapse in on itself. The tall Pokemon nodded to Lucario before turning to Naruto. Greetings, I am Mutuo. Lord Arceus has sent me here to help in your training. Specifically, I am to help you learn to control your mind. Naruto scratched one of the whisker marks on his cheeks. Why do I have to learn to control my mind? Mutuo tilted his head, with what appeared to be amusement shining in his purple eyes. From what Lord Arceus has told me of the ninja ways, I understand that there are several ways to alter an opponent's perception or overshadow said opponent. I believe you call some of them genjutsu? Naruto scratched the back of his head. Yeah, I guess. Mutuo nodded. Well then, to start with, let's take a look in your mind, so that we know what we have to work with. Before Naruto could say or do anything, Mutuo's eyes glowed blue as his three-fingered hand touched Naruto's forehead. Naruto found himself standing in a dark, dank sewer, with filthy, black water dripping down the walls. He jumped as Mutuo made his presence known. A sewer. Not quite what I was expecting from someone of your age. Then again, I am one to talk about strange mindscapes. A deep rumbling filled the sewer-like mindscape before a deep and dark voice shook the air. It's about time you showed up. 8 years I've waited here. Could have tried meditation sooner, blast it. But knew you just run around, grinning like an idiot. Still, I do enjoy the pranks. Good stuff. Naruto turned around, and jumped back with a scream, hiding behind an impassive Mutuo. Who are you? Naruto stared around the psychic Pokemon at the two enormous eyes that glowed red in the dark behind a set of absolutely titanic metal bars. The massive shape moved forward, revealing a leviathan of a red fox with 9 tails and rabbit-like ears. His voice like a passing freight train shook the sewers like an earthquake. I am the Kyubi no Yoko, the 9-tailed fox. I know who you are, Jinchuriki, but I do not know the large cat. Can't be Nibby, you only have 1 tail, and you're not on fire. So who are you? Mutuo stepped forward. I am Mutuo, the most powerful of physic Pokemon, second only to Lord Arceus himself. The Kyubi tilted his head, squinting down at the Pokemon. I have no idea what a Pokemon is, nor who this Arceus is. I'm not surprised. We did just learn of this dimension ourselves. Dimension? Is that like the Summon Realms? Naruto raised a hand, interrupting Kyubi's and Mutuo's discussion. Cuddles? Didn't the 4th Hokage kill you? Kid, I'm pure chakra, I can't be killed. The Kyubi paused as he considered what Naruto had called him. And don't call me Cuddles. But you look cuddly. And how come you can't be killed? Mutuo stroked his chin contemplatively. Chakra is energy, and energy cannot be created nor destroyed, it can only be altered. Huh? It means energy, or chakra, can't be broken, it can only be turned into something else. How do you think shinobi can spit fire or throw lightning? They change their chakra. Naruto didn't quite understand everything the Kyubi said, but he did know what Cuddles meant by spitting fire and lightning. That's so cool. Can I do that? I don't know about lightning, but my natural element was fire, so it is possible that you'll be able to use Katan. Huh? The Kyubi rubbed his face with a paw. You may be able to use fire thanks to me. Naruto began to bounce with glee. Cool. To both the Kyubi's and Mutuo's surprise, Naruto jumped between the bars and glomped the massive fox's just as massive paw. Thank you, Cuddles. The Kyubi was so shocked that the boy who had suffered so much because of his presence was hugging him that he didn't even move. Mutuo took that opportunity to pull Naruto out of his mindscape. Naruto, come, it is time to begin training your mind. Reluctantly, Naruto left the stunned Kitsune and took Mutuo's paw, fading from the mindscape. The Kyubi was left alone, frozen and speechless in his cell in the sewers. My name's not Cuddles. Present day. And that's how I met the Kyuubi no Yoko. Naruto finished his tale, omitting the details of Mutuo and Lucario's appearances, as well as that of their abilities. Kakashi was understandably gobsmacked. You went and hugged the most powerful demon in existence? And survived? Yeah. So? Thud. At Kakashi-sensei? Dang, I didn't even get to tell him about how I found what my main element is. Oh well. Naruto considered the passed-out form of a foaming-at-the-mouth Kakashi. Should I? Nah, he'll be fine. Well, guess I'll be seeing him tomorrow then. Bye, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi could only twitch and gurgle as Naruto left the training grounds. Gaijukligal. Omake. The day before Lucario's rescue of Naruto. Get the demon! He deserves to die. The mob chasing a 6-year-old stopped in front of a library, the target of their hatred nowhere in sight. One of the ringleaders turned to the torch and pitchfork-waving group. We need to destroy it. It doesn't deserve to live. That's right. He killed my husband. He killed my parents. He destroyed my restaurant. He stepped on my dog. The fourth died because of him. He turned me into a newt. The mob turned as one to stare at the man who yelled out last. He turned bright red and kicked at the dirt. I got better. Suddenly, the man pointed down the street. Look! There he goes! With a roar of anger, the mob charged down the street, leaving the man behind. Smirking to himself, the man glanced at the library and made a hand seal. Kai! With a puff of smoke, the man was replaced by an ANBU operative wearing a porcelain lizard mask. Chuckling to himself, he brought a hand to his ear, activating his radio. Newt here. Mob successfully diverted. Yeah, kids holed up in the library. No, doesn't look like they're gonna kick him out this time. No, I don't know why. Because the kid's the reason why I was even considered to become ANBU in the first place. Yeah, that's right, alright, roger that, dog. With a swirl of leaves, the ANBU known as Newt shined away to follow the mob. Cherry Blossom, this is Scarecrow. Any sightings on the target? Negative, Scarecrow. Sorry. Scarecrow to Blue Boy, you got anything? HN. Hey guys. I got the cat. What? How did you get the cat so quickly, Dobe? What? How dare you get the cat before my sweet Sasuke? Kakashi sighed as the radio link between himself and his genins devolved into screaming and nasty insults. He looked up to find Naruto holding a disturbingly calm Tora. Considering that the cat belonging to the daimyo's wife usually tried to scratch off the face of the person that caught it, Kakashi was understandably a bit scared at the feline's content purse. He looked up at Naruto. What exactly did you do to the cat? Naruto gave Kakashi a grin that reminded the jounin of a fox. Just gave him some catnip. Kakashi blinked. Why didn't I ever think of that? He frowned. There were 3 voices yelling on the radio, and Naruto was right in front of him, petting a purring cat in silence. Naruto. Yes, sensei? Who's on the radio with Sasuke and Sakura? Naruto gave a foxy grin that made Kakashi a bit worried. Just a shadow clone. I'm kinda wondering how long it will take them to notice it's not me. Kakashi felt a bead of sweat roll down his temple. He sighed, then looked to the sky. It's going to be a very long day, isn't it? Team 7 reporting a successful mission. Hiruzen Sarutobi looked up, a bit confused. That was quick. You really caught Tora in only 2 hours? Kakashi scratched the back of his head. It would have been 1 hour, but Naruto had a shadow clone infiltrate our radio frequency, and I decided to use that as a teachable moment. The jounin glanced at Sakura and Sasuke on his left as Naruto snorted on his right. You mean, you couldn't get a word in edgewise for 30 minutes, sensei? Kakashi grumbled a bit. Well, yes, but I also used it as an example of what can happen when you violate radio protocol by using the signals to track them down. Sarutobi chuckled warmly. Well, I guess it's time to give you another mission then. Hiruzen pulled out a scroll and began to read from it. Let's see, walking the Inuzuka's dogs weeding the Yamamoto's gardens, a scream and a cat's yowl caused Sarutobi to pause. Catching Tora again. Naruto groaned. Come on, old man, we've been doing D ranks for months now. Can't we do a C rank? Sakura stared aghast at Naruto. Naruto! You can't just call the Lord Hokage old man. Sarutobi held up a hand. That's quite alright, Ms. Haruno. Kakashi, do you think your team is ready for a C rank mission? Kakashi's eye turned into an upside-down U as he smiled. I believe so. The third nodded. Very well. Let's see, here we go, an escort mission to the Land of Waves. A bridge builder from there has requested for a guard to protect him from bandits while he completes his latest project. Think you can handle it? Believe it. HN. If my sweet Sasuke's doing it, so will I. He's so hot. Sarutobi smiled. Excellent. Satomi, please send in Tazuna. An older man staggered into the Hokage's office, smelling strongly of alcohol. Kakashi, Sakura, Sasuke, and the third wrinkled their noses at the smell, while Naruto, his sense of smell heightened by the presence of the QB in his body, tried hard not to gag. The man, Tazuna, peered drunkenly at the assembled ninja. Great. A cyclops, a pink-haired girly girl, some duck-butt emo kid and a midget. I ain't exactly filled with confidence. Naruto, ever sensitive about his below-average height, scowled at the man. In another life, Naruto may have made a move to attack or threaten the old drunkard, but 6 years of training with Lucario had done wonders for Naruto's self-control. That wasn't to say, however, that Naruto was going to let Tazuna's slight slide. Hey old man, you get what you pay for. You paid for a C-rank mission, Genin do most C-ranks. You want older ninja, you should have paid more. Kakashi smiled. Well said, Naruto. I always did think there was something more to you than just pranks and impulsiveness. Naruto grinned. Believe it, you old dog. The scarecrow of a Jounin glanced sideways at Naruto. How'd he know? He shook the thought away. Well, I think we should leave first thing tomorrow morning. Pack for a month-long trip and be at the south gate by 7. Kakashi turned to Tazuna. Does that sound good to you? Tazuna waved a hand dismissively before taking a swig from his jug. Yeah, whatever. Kakashi bowed to the Hokage. Well then, if that's all, by your leave, Lord Hokage. Hiruzen smiled warmly. Dismissed. Bowing, Team 7 filed out of the Hokage's office, Tazuna staggering after them, muttering about cocky midgets and cycloptic scarecrows. Lucario leapt from tree to tree as he approached his current destination. Consulting his map of the area, the jackal Pokemon looked up to find a green, chibi-like fairy Pokemon floating before him. Hey Rio! Hello Shalebi, how are you? The fairy Pokemon giggled. Good. I got those old fossils to agree for ya. Lucario put his map away. I hope it wasn't too much trouble. Shalebi giggled and flipped in the air. Nah, once I asked if they were interested in fighting really tough opponents, they couldn't say yes fast enough. Shalebi produced a bulb-like container. Got it all right here. Lucario smiled at the forest guardian. Thank you, Shalebi. The fighting/steel Pokemon pulled out his red and white ball. Just press it against the button here, please. Nodding in acknowledgement, Shalebi pressed the plant bulb to the ball. As the bulb pressed the button, the ball split in two, absorbing the bulb and its contents in a flash of red light. There, that should cover your involvement as well. Yay! I can't wait to meet this guy. You may not have to. Lucario smiled at the hyperactive fairy. He does live a city surrounded by miles of forest. It is, after all, known as the village hidden in the leaves. And now that the dimensions have been linked by the creation trio and Lord Arceus, you might very well be able to go there anytime you want, with or without his help. Shalebi squeaked. Oh my gosh. I hadn't even thought about that. Thanks Rio, you're the best. Lucario chuckled. My pleasure. Naruto was the first to arrive at the south gate, soon joined by Sasuke, who was followed by the lovesick puppy otherwise known as Sakura Haruno. Naruto was about to greet his teammates when he froze, a dumbstruck look on his face. Sasuke frowned at Naruto and waved a hand in front of the blonde's face. Dobe, you alright? Naruto's only response was to slowly lift a trembling hand to point over Sakura's shoulder. Turning around, Sasuke and Sakura froze themselves as they beheld Kakashi walking beside the bridge builder Tazuna towards the gate. Throwing their hands into a seal, the trio pulsed their chakra to dispel the genjutsu. Considering how chronically late Kakashi had been, never once arriving less than an hour late, the genin's individual reactions were quite understandable. Kai! Sakura began to screech in terror. Sweet Kami, it's real! It's the end of the world! Naruto screamed and turned to flee, whereupon he ran smack into the open gate. Ow! Sasuke merely stood there, his Uchiha pride refusing to allow him to do anything other than allow his eye to twitch. HN. Kakashi looked up from his little orange book. Ma, is it really that big of a deal? I thought you'd be happy that I got here on time. Yeah. If you'd been on time at all in the past months. Thankfully, Naruto had opened his mouth before Sakura, sparing the eardrums of all present. Before Kakashi could respond, he heard something that chilled him to the bone. Ah, my eternal rival, Kakashi. Oh no, not him. Kakashi lazily turned his eye towards the speaker, taking in the man before him. Grimacing under his mask at the bowl-cut black-haired man in the green jumpsuit/orange leg-warmer combo, Kakashi looked at the man that would more likely than not drive him insane one of these days. Resigning himself to his fate, Kakashi feigned boredom and apathy. HM? Oh, hello guy. The strange spandex-clad man, a jounin if the flak jacket and forehead protector worn as a belt was anything to go by, turned to Team 7, his absurdly enormous eyebrows wiggling on his face in pleasant surprise. Ah, I had heard you had a most youthful team of genin this year, my eternal rival. Most youthful of you. Naruto looked at the strange man warily. So, bushy brows, who are you? Who am I? The strange jounin struck a pose, arm out straight, giving a thumbs up as his teeth somehow sparkled as he smiled. I am Konoha's beautiful blue beast, my Guy. As Guy finished with his spiel, another, shorter guy with wide, round eyes jogged up. YOSH. Guy-sensei, my flames of youth burn brightly today. Most excellent, Lee. Truly do your flames of youth burn brightly. The three genin of Team 7 shared one thought as Guy and the now named Lee. Are they related? Meanwhile, fearing where this particular chain of events was leading to, Kotesu and Izumo, the so-called eternal Chunin, slowly sank down to hide behind the guardhouse check-in desk. Guy gave his blindingly bright smile as he introduced his mini-me to Team 7 and to Zuna. Ah, this is my most youthful apprentice, the beautiful green beast of Konoha, Rock Lee. Due to a birth defect, he cannot mold chakra, and therefore strives to prove that one can be a ninja using only taijutsu. Isn't that right, Lee? Yes, Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Suddenly, teacher and student embraced in a most manly hug of youthful proportions, the waves crashing high on the rocky beach behind them, the sky painted red and yellow with the sunset. The feared sunset of youth, patent pending, trademarked, and copyrighted by Mike Guy, left various impressions on the fledgling Team 7. Kakashi was sweating as he tried in vain to drown out the genjutsu by immersing himself in his precious Ika paradise. Oh Kami, not again! Sakura was sprawled on the ground foaming at the mouth and twitching all the while as she went into fits. Gurgle, gurgle. Naruto had jumped into Sasuke's arms, clutching the Uchiha's neck for dear life as he tried to dispel the genjutsu. Kai! Kai! Why isn't this working? Sasuke was frozen, not even registering the boy held bridal style in his arms. HN. Inside the seal on Naruto's stomach, the Kyubi no Yoko, aka Cuddles, was hunched up like a scared cat in the farthest corner of his cage as he cut off his connection to Naruto's senses. It can't hurt me anymore, it can't hurt me anymore. Tazuna stared at the sunset of youth, then at his bottle of sake. Maybe it went bad? After a moment of introspection, the bridge builder shrugged and took a long swig of sake, then peered carefully at the two spandex-clad huggers. Yep, I'm drunk, maybe I should lay off the booze now. He took another swig of his sake. Damn, that's good. Hidden behind the check-in desk of the gatehouse, Izumo and Kotetsu were huddled together in what could only be described as the fetal position as they had made the mistake of peeking over the lip of the desk to see if the coast was clear. Fortunately for everyone present, the genjutsu of youth disappeared as Lee and Guy broke contact. I see that you are preparing for a most youthful mission outside of the village. I hope your mission is most youthful. Kakashi, silently thanking Kami, Yami, the Shinigami, or whoever was listening that the sunset of youth was over, looked up from his little orange book. You say something, Guy? Guy visibly recoiled, almost face-planting. Curse you and your hip coolness. Well, at any rate, my eternal rival, it was most youthful to see you again and to meet your most youthful team of cute genin. Come Lee, we shall run around Konoha 100 times, and if we can't do that, I'll climb the Hokage monument with both hands and a foot tied behind my back. The mini-me smiled brightly. YOSH. And if we can't do it, I'll do 500 pull-ups with my tongue. With that, and spine-chilling cries of youth, the beautiful beasts of Konoha disappeared in twin clouds of dust. Coming out of the traumatized daze he was in, Sasuke noticed that he was holding Naruto in his arms. Grunting in surprise, though he never admitted, Sasuke dropped Naruto on his butt. Ow! Naruto gave a dirty look to Sasuke, who glared right back. Kakashi turned to his genin team and their client before Naruto and Sasuke could start bickering like they had been for the past few months. Well, now that that's over, let's get going, shall we? The trip to Wave Country started out quite dully once Sakura could be roused from her youth-induced mini-coma. However, that is not to say that the journey was quiet. For the past 2 days of travel, Naruto, Sasuke, Kakashi and Tazuna were treated to a constant stream of fangirl drivel spewing from Sakura's mouth non-stop about how wonderful Sasuke was, or how much cooler than Naruto Sasuke was, amongst other things. It had gotten to the point that Sasuke and Kakashi were actually hoping that the pinkette would lose her voice. Naruto was contemplating pulling out a roll from his vast collection of duct tape he kept in a scroll. Never know when you need duct tape. And Tazuna was drinking more than usual in the hopes that the copious amount of alcohol he was drinking would make the trip go by faster. Naruto was just about to pull out his duct tape when he noticed a puddle in the middle of the road up ahead. The strange thing was that it hadn't rained in days, and there were no bodies of water nearby. Seeing this tickled Naruto's memory, but he couldn't quite place that feeling. Coming to a quick decision, Naruto came to an abrupt halt. "Hey Kakashi-sensei, I gotta go." Sakura stopped spouting her ear-grating Sasuke worship, much to everyone's relief. Go where, idiot?" Naruto deadpanned at Sakura. "And she's supposed to be the smartest in our class? What do you think?" Looking at Kakashi and receiving an affirmative nod, Naruto moved into the trees by the path. Whispering the name of his technique, Naruto sped through a few hand seals before channeling chakra to his closed eyes. Sensho no Nai Aura Sense. The darkness behind Naruto's eyelids flared with the blue of radiating chakra. After taking a moment to orient himself, Naruto focused on where the lone puddle was. Under the influence of his aura sense, the puddle was revealed to be a genjutsu by the 2 human-shaped blobs of radiating chakra hiding within. Sighing in exasperation, Naruto dropped his technique and stepped out of the forests to join the group. Nodding to Kakashi in acknowledgement that he was done with his business while ignoring the indignant and impatient screeching of Sakura, Naruto followed the group as they continued down the road. As they passed the puddle, Naruto came to another stop. "You guys may as well come out, you're not fooling anybody." At these words, before Team 7 could respond or react, 2 figures jumped out of the puddle. Both men were dressed the same way and were obviously twins, though one was slightly taller than the other. Light glinted off of the pair of gauntlets shared between the two and their single and double-horn ninja forehead protectors. They looked at Naruto over their rusty-looking metal rebreathers. "Hey kid, how's it going? See, you finally made Genin, good on you." Naruto smiled at the pair. "Hey Gozu, Meizu, how've you guys been?" Gozu slumped. "Not as well as we'd like." Meizu nodded. "Yeah, our coup against Yagura didn't turn out so well." Sasuke and Sakura were baffled, Tazuna appeared to be terrified, and Kakashi was trying to fight off a building migraine. He pinched the bridge of his nose. "Naruto, how exactly are you on a first-name basis with a pair of missing nin, more specifically, the demon brothers of the mist?" Naruto put his hands on the back of his head sheepishly. "Well, you see, a few years ago, Lucario-sensei took me on a training trip outside the village, and we kinda ran into each other when we got attacked by bandits." Meizu nodded. "By the way, how is the jackal?" Naruto flapped a hand at the twins. "He's on one of his, business trips. So, what exactly were you two doing in a puddle anyways?" Gozu scratched the back of his head with his ungauntleted hand. "Well, we were hired to kill the bridge builder." Meizu nodded sadly. "It's not like we wanted to, but when Zabuza tried to say no, Gato got his daughter Haku with a nerve toxin. Told Zabuza that if he wanted the antidote, he'd kill the bridge builder." Kakashi frowned under his mask, still on guard against the missing mist ninja. Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the bloody mist, wielder of the Kubikuribucho and Gato of Gato Incorporated. The brothers nodded. Kakashi rounded on Tazuna, who appeared to be trying to hide himself in his sake bottle. "Explain. Now." Tazuna sighed and began to explain the plight that Wave Country was suffering. Apparently, underneath the exterior of a successful shipping tycoon, Gato was neck-deep in all sorts of illicit and illegal enterprises. Not satisfied with what he had, the kingpin had set his sights on the island nation that was Wave Country. After taking control of the shipping in and out of Wave, using both legal and illegal means, Gato had tightened his grip on Wave, starting with the quiet assassinations of the Wave Country daimyo and his family. After Gato had the fiancée of his daughter publicly executed to make an example, Tazuna had had enough, and had begun construction of a bridge to the mainland in hopes of breaking Gato's stranglehold on Wave. Upon hearing that Gato was hiring ninja to take him out, Tazuna had taken whatever funds he could get to hire ninja for protection. The only problem was, even after scouring all of Wave Country, they only had enough Ryo for a C-rank mission. "Please," Tazuna begged. "If we don't finish the bridge, Wave will die." Kakashi turned to Team 7. "So, anybody want to turn back?" Nobody moved. "I guess we continue on. However, Kakashi turned to Tazuna. This mission is now an A rank. Since Wave Country is such dire straits, however, we'll have to work out a payment plan later. Kakashi turned to the demon brothers. Will we have to fight Zabuza? Unless you have the antidote for Haku, Meizu said. Then Zabuza will do his best to kill you, continued Gozu. Even if he doesn't want to. Kakashi cursed inwardly before Naruto spoke up. I got an idea. Everyone turned to Naruto. If you guys, Naruto pointed at Gozu and Meizu. Lay low, play dead as it were, then you guys can sneak into Gata's base and steal the antidote. Then Zabuza won't have a reason to fight for the bastard. Everyone stared at Naruto. Sasuke was the first to speak up. Damn Dobe, that was actually a good idea. Never thought you had it in you. Naruto shrugged, ignoring the veiled insult. I have my moments. Gozu and Meizu looked at each other, then nodded. We like it. We'll be watching out from the shadows. With that, the two disappeared into the forests beside the path. Kakashi turned to Team 7 and Tazuna. Come on, let's get going. We need to get to Wave and quickly. Lucario was consulting his map when a green flash caught his attention. Hello Shalebi, I thought you were going to see Naruto? Shalebi shrugged nonchalantly. Well, I went, but I couldn't find him anywhere. But then I went to this big tower, and heard some old guy saying that Naruto was out of the village on a mission. Isn't that awesome? Quite. Lucario smiled. His protege was already on a C-rank mission, at the very least, and was making his teacher/guardian proud. Shalebi floated over to Lucario and draped herself over his shoulder, looking at the map in his paws upside down. So, what you doing now? Lucario couldn't help but chuckle at the small green fairy as he pulled out a partially completed checklist. Well, plenty of us mundane Pokemon have volunteered already. All of the stationary legendaries, that is to say, the ones that have a permanent lair, have already agreed as well. Right now, I am trying to find the more nomadic legendaries. Shalebi rolled over onto her stomach and pointed at a group of canine-esque Pokemon. What about them? I ran into them on my last trip. Well, what about the musketeers? They searched me out on my first trip. Shalebi scratched her nose for a moment. Suddenly, with a grin, Shalebi pointed at a pair of jet-like pictures. What about them? Lucario gave an exasperated sigh. I've been trying to find them for several trips, but every time I get close, they up and vanish on me. If I didn't know any better, I'd say they were playing with me. Shalebi giggled. With those two, they probably are. I'll find them for you and get them to come to you, okay? You just go and get whoever's left, so leave it to me. Lucario nodded, then looked at his list again. Actually, aside from those two, I only have the Nightmare Lord and his sister, then the Kami trio left to find. If I'm lucky, I'll be back before Naruto is. Shalebi popped up off Lucario's shoulder. Yay! That's awesome. Okay. I'll go get them for ya. Later. Lucario shook his head with a chuckle as he watched the hyperactive fairy fly off before dashing off in his own direction. A few days later, Team 7 caught a boat owned by a friend of Tazuna to Wave Country. Before long, a massive shape made itself known through the thick mist. Wow, that thing's HUMMPH. Sakura's ear-shattering outburst was suddenly and mercifully cut off by Kakashi's hand clasped over her mouth. Shoo! Yelling like that is going to give away our position. Sakura had the good graces to blush in embarrassment from Kakashi's admonishment. It wasn't long before the ninja and their client had disembarked from the small boat and bid the pilot farewell. About 2 hours into Wave Country, Naruto suddenly jumped into the bushes by the path and returned holding a white rabbit. While Sakura was busy berating Naruto for scaring her like that, Kakashi took note of the rabbit's unseasonal color. White fur should be brown now that it's spring. That means that this rabbit was bred indoors, which means Kakashi's eye widened as a low, menacing whooshing caught his ear. Hit the deck! Kakashi pulled Sakura down to the ground with him as Sasuke pulled down Tazuna. They all watched in horror as the spinning iron whirlwind bisected Naruto, only for Naruto to burst into smoke as the spinning circle of death sliced halfway into a tree. As the smoke cleared, a tall, shirtless figure with snow-camouflaged leg and arm warmers could be seen standing on the flat of an absolutely massive executioner's blade. Naruto reemerged from the bush, rabbit still in his arms as he took in the man's bandage-covered mouth and nose and scratched Mist's forehead protector. Hey Zabuza, how's Haku doing? Zabuza sighed audibly as he saw the concern on the blonde's face. Not good, brat. Gat has been supplying me with something to keep the poison at bay to ensure my loyalty, but she's not doing well. The former member of the Mist 7 Swordsmen, a near-legendary organization of master swordsmen from the hidden Mist Village, looked around cautiously. Hey brat, the jackal's not around, is he? Naruto shook his head as he petted the rabbit. No, he's on one of his travels. Do you really have to kill the old man? Zabuza nodded. Afraid so, brat. He looked at the rest of Team 7 surrounding a heavily sweating Tazuna. Huh, you got Sharingan Kakashi as your Jounin sensei? Well, at least he should put up a decent enough fight. Sasuke looked at Kakashi in confusion as the Jounin lifted his forehead protector, revealing a red eye with 3 pinwheels. Sharingan? But he's not an Uchiha, isn't he? Before Kakashi could move though, Zabuza made a blitzing series of hand signs. Kirigakure no Jutsu, hidden in the mist technique. The already present mist thickened into a dense fog, cutting off visibility for all present. Naruto put the rabbit in a storage seal before rejoining Team 7 as Zabuza's voice echoed throughout the obscuring mist. Normally I'd start listing the 8 instant kill spots and ask which you prefer, but right now, I really don't want to have to kill the old man. Naruto tried to see through the fog. Zabuza, you don't have to do this. I'm afraid I don't have a choice. It's either him, or Haku. Naruto ducked as Zabuza's Kubikuribucho, a colossal 6-foot-long, 1-foot-wide executioner's blade, passed overhead. Unsealing his clawed gauntlets, Naruto swiped at Zabuza, only for the missing nin to dissolve into water. Gah! Water clone! After a few more water clones were dispelled by Team 7, the mist cleared enough for the 3 genin and Tazuna to find Zabuza standing on the water of the nearby river, Kakashi trapped in a bubble of water attached to the swordsman's outstretched hand. 10 new water clones of Zabuza flowed up from the surface of the river as they watched. The closest one turned to address the horrified Team 7. You might as well give up, I really don't want to have to pull a graduating class on you. Sakura looked at the clone in confusion. Hey Sasuke, what's he mean by graduating class? Zabuza is known as the demon of the bloody mist for a reason, Sakura. Sasuke and Sakura turned their attention to Naruto. To graduate in Kiri, you had to kill another class member. Zabuza, Naruto gestured at the real Miss Nin. Killed his year's entire graduating class. They turned to stare at Zabuza with even more horror. Now you see why you should give up? The real Zabuza stared off into the distance behind Team 7. Until you're in my bingo book, you're not a real ninja. Not giving up? The swordsman sighed. Can't say I didn't warn you. At that, the myriad water clones started their attack. After enduring several minutes of sheer hell, Naruto decided to do something stupid. Sasuke! What? Sasuke ducked under a broad slash. A water clone was dispelled, only to be replaced by 2 more. Throw me at the big guy. What? Another water clone went down, minus a head. Throw me, I got a plan. Naruto did a quick kawarimi with one of the many shadow clones jumping around. Are you crazy? Just do it. Sasuke dodged an overhead strike, then grabbed Naruto by the back of his shirt. Jumping onto a clone sword as it passed by in sheer dumb luck, Sasuke pivoted and launched Naruto as hard as he could towards the real Zabuza and Kakashi. Zabuza watched in bemused amusement at the oncoming screaming blonde. Does he really think that will work? Well, nothing for it, I guess. Zabuza lazily holstered Kubikuribucho on his back and held up his hand to catch the flying genin. Really, kid, I'm an A-ranked missing nin. That ain't gonna. Zabuza paused as the airborne 13-year-old passed right through him like a ghost. Heh? A pair of hands grabbing the arm embedded in Kakashi's water prison made Zabuza look to his left. His eyes widened as he felt the absolutely absurd amount of chakra for any jounin to have even half of pushing into the blonde kid's muscles. Oh shit. Using the chakra-hardened water prison as a support, Naruto unleashed his attack. Jishin Najuru, seismic toss, roaring the name of his technique, Naruto threw Zabuza off into the sky, where the cussing and yelling missing nins seemed to disappear with a small twinkle of light. Naruto fell into the water as the water prison collapsed out from under him, leaving him floating face up in the lazily flowing river, giggling deliriously. I got him. Giggling insanely, Naruto drifted off into unconsciousness. Kakashi stood on the water and ran a quick medical diagnostic jutsu over Naruto's unconscious floating body. He grimaced at how the jutsu revealed how Naruto was essentially one big mass of strained, pulled, and torn muscle. Fortunately, it seemed that Naruto's tenant was working overtime to repair the damage, if the red sparks dancing over his skin was any indication. Looking at the boy's chakra paths before covering up his implanted Sharingan, Kakashi was startled to see that almost all of Naruto's chakra had been used up, leaving the boy with just under what he himself had. Glancing in wonder at the portion of the sky that Zabuza had disappeared into, Kakashi hefted the sleeping teen onto his back. As he made his way back to the rest of Team 7 and their client, Kakashi couldn't help but shudder. If he's this strong now, How strong will he be once he's my age? Groaning at the end of a very long, freshly dug trench was a groaning Zabuza. Sitting up slowly, the missing Nin rubbed the back of his neck. Damn, that bastard poisoning Haku has really thrown me off my A-game. Slowly getting to his feet, Zabuza looked around. Really shouldn't have underestimated that kid. Where the hell am I? Cursing as he realized how far away from Haku he was, Zabuza began making his way back to his hideout. Thank Kami I left her with a blood clone. I can't imagine what that bastard would do to my little girl if I wasn't. What the hell? Zabuza pulled a piece of sealing paper off his bicep he hadn't noticed before. Channeling some chakra into the seal on it, he was a bit miffed at the letter that poofed out of it. Looking at the childish handwriting, the dark-haired man wondered just when the hell the blonde troublemaker had found the time to make this. As he read the note, a devious and viciously evil smile spread across his face, his sharp shark-like teeth gleaming behind his combat wrappings on his face. Laughing in relief and anticipation, Zabuza leapt off through the trees as quick as he could. Naruto groaned as he slowly cracked open his eyes, instantly regretting it as his optical organs were seemingly assaulted by 1,000 exploding suns. Oh good, you're awake. Blinking blearily, Naruto turned his head to the side. Oh, hey Kakashi-sensei. Sitting up groggily, Naruto shook his head clear. What happened? Kakashi gave a wry smile hidden by his mask. You tell me. You go and charge Zabuza, and somehow you go right through him, disappear, and then end up throwing him halfway back to Fire Country, doing a number on your body. If it wasn't for, cuddles, you'd most likely be crippled. Fortunately, the client's home was nearby. I brought you up to the guest room to recover. So, how did you do that? Well, Naruto shifted into a more comfortable position. The first thing was a genjutsu called Otori Feint. By distorting the air using my chakra, I can make it look like I'm in one place when I'm actually a few feet over. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. It's really the only genjutsu I can do. Kakashi nodded sagely. By warping the density of the air, you cause a refraction that creates a mirage. Clever. Naruto blinked. Yeah, isn't that what I said? As for the second thing, it's a technique called Tosujishin, seismic toss, where I flood my muscles with as much chakra as I can while grappling before tossing my opponent into low orbit. The blonde winced as he worked a few sore muscle groups. Guess I overdid it, huh? Kakashi sighed at the antics of his subordinate. Naruto, I don't want you to use that technique anymore unless it's an emergency or I give you the okay. It won't do you any good if you can't move afterwards. Naruto sighed. I understand, sensei. Good. Kakashi moved for the door. Now get some more rest. At the rate you're healing, you should be in top shape by the morning. Just in time for some training, alright? Yuyan got it. Kakashi smiled at how Naruto was already asleep. Closing the door behind himself, the Jounin sighed. If his genin were to be ready for when Zabuza or Gata made their move, he would need to stop slacking and teach them as much as he could in what time they had. Darn it, should have asked Naruto how far he threw Zabuza. Well, at the speed he was going we might have a week, if we're lucky. Sighing, Kakashi went to brief his team for the next morning. The next morning saw the introduction of Tazuna's daughter Tsunami, a buxom woman with blue hair. Shortly after breakfast, Team 7 found themselves in a clearing outside of Tazuna's house. Even with his super-fast healing, Naruto was hobbling around like a drunken cripple, though he was swiftly improving. Much to everyone's surprise, Naruto wasn't the only one recovering. Kakashi hopped outside after his genin on a pair of crutches. Naruto blinked. Hey Kakashi-sensei, I thought I was the mission's cripple, what happened? Kakashi chuckled in embarrassment. Well, you see, my Sharingan drains a lot of chakra. Had that battle with Zabuza continued for much longer, I probably would have collapsed from chakra exhaustion. As it was, after I checked on Naruto last night, I stumbled while going down the stairs and sprained my ankle. Don't worry though, my medical jutsu should get me up and running before we have to fight Zabuza. He took a look at Naruto. From what Naruto told me, we should have about a week to prepare, given how hard Naruto threw him and what past experience says. Sakura chose that moment to speak. Well, Naruto should teach that technique to Sasuke, he'd be able to use it way better than he ever could. Kakashi shook his head. I'm afraid not. The wear and tear from that one technique did a number on Naruto. If he didn't heal as quickly as he does, it is most likely that Naruto would be crippled for the rest of his life. He also used the equivalent of 3 of Sasuke's full reserves in his technique. Sasuke didn't seem to be too upset by this as he merely grunted. If anything, Sakura seemed more devastated than Sasuke ever was. Now, Kakashi continued. I'm going to teach you how to climb trees without using your hands. Sakura scoffed. Climbing a tree without hands? That's impossible, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Oh, really? Team 7's eyes bulged out collectively as Kakashi walked up the side of the tree as if he was taking a stroll down the street, albeit on crutches. Walking out onto a branch, Kakashi stopped and hung there upside down. You were saying? Chuckling silently at his genin's expressions, Kakashi moved on with his lesson. Alright, to do this, you need to channel your chakra to the bottoms of your feet. Too much, and you'll go flying, too little and you'll fall off. A kunai landed by the feet of each genin. Use the kunai to mark how far you got. If you reach the top, then alternate walking and running up and down the tree until you collapse or I tell you to stop. As the day went on, Sasuke and Naruto grew ever more frustrated as they made very slow progress, inching their way up the tree. Sasuke would run up the tree, only to slip about 10 feet off the ground and slide back down. Naruto would run up the tree, only to get overly excited when he'd reach his highest mark. His next step would always be overcharged, sending the blonde rocketing across the clearing. He didn't even have to use the kunai to mark his progress. The craters trailing up the tree trunk were enough testament to Naruto's progress. Sakura, on the other hand, had reached the top very quickly thanks to her perfect chakra control. However, as her chakra reserves were next to non-existent, she had barely made it up and down the tree 7 times before collapsing in a heap at the bottom of her tree. It was to this scene that Kakashi arrived too, ducking under an airborne jinchuriki as he observed Sakura slumped over and Sasuke slowly sliding down his tree as he tried to run against the pull of gravity. Sighing, Kakashi called his students in for dinner. A few days later, Kakashi and his team were planning their newest guard and training rotations. As they did this, it wasn't long before Tazuna's young grandson Inari came into the room. Why do you bother fighting? You can't beat Gadu. Kakashi eyed Inari, the boy's face hidden under the bill of his baseball cap. His voice spoke of pain and loss. Oh? Why can't we beat Gadu? He's too strong. Defeat was clear in Inari's voice. Sakura was the next to speak up. So what makes him so strong then? He has an army of thugs. You can't beat him, it's impossible. Everyone who tries dies. Sasuke snorted. Kid, we're ninja. We do the impossible every day. Besides, bandits don't stand a chance against ninja. Don't be so defeatist. Inari's face was contorted with anger. Shut up. You don't know what it's like to suffer. Suddenly, it got very cold in the house. It was as if all the life had been sucked out of the room. Slowly, everyone turned to face Naruto, the air flickering and distorting around him as if a great amount of heat was pouring off him, yet no amount of warmth could be felt. Naruto's hand clenched tightly around the metal spoon in his hand. We don't know what it's like to suffer? Inari couldn't help but feel that his life was forfeited. Since the day I was born, I have been alone. My parents died the day I was born. The orphanage I lived in barely fed me and kept me away from the other children. When I turned 4, they kicked me out onto the streets. A week later, the village leader found me and gave me an apartment. But it didn't stop there. Every so often, a mob would come after me for some imagined slight or crime I hadn't committed. I have been cut, stabbed, burned, and tortured so often I'm surprised I don't have any scars. A few doctors would try to poison me instead of helping me, though fortunately most of them stuck to their oaths. I've had my skull caved in so many times that I have blanks in my memory. And it's worse on my birthday. Every year, the civilians try to hunt me down. The shinobi help, but there's only so much they can do. To top it all off, the civilian council keeps trying to have me executed for no good reason, and civilian stores refuse to sell to me, overcharge me, or sell me faulty or spoiled merchandise. So don't you dare say that no one else knows what it's like to suffer. Shrinking away from the almost inaudible demonic echo in Naruto's voice, Inari ran from the kitchen. Naruto stood up from the table. Kakashi-sensei, I'm going training before I do something I regret. Kakashi nodded, and Naruto left the room. The rest of Team 7, Tsunami and Tazuna stared at the warped and twisted metal spoon that had been crushed in Naruto's fist as the front door slammed shut. Sakura looked at Kakashi in horror. Is that all true? It can't be real, can it, Kakashi-sensei? Kakashi sighed. I'm afraid it is, Sakura. Naruto has been hated by the civilians in the village since he was a newborn through no fault of his own. For the most part, the shinobi don't feel the same way, but there are enough of them to make Naruto's life even more difficult. His landlord was replaced for trying to cheat Naruto out of money and commodities, and his schooling was always sabotaged by biased teachers. If it wasn't for a stranger to the village saving Naruto from a mob and taking him under his wing when he was 6, I shudder to think of what he'd be like today. Sasuke was struck by just how much worse Naruto's life had been compared to his own. Sure, his brother had killed off the rest of their family and mentally tortured him with an advanced genjutsu, but at least he'd had a family at some point. Naruto, he had nothing and no one for the longest time. A small modicum of respect wiggled its way into Sasuke. Sakura was horrified at the story that her teammate and team leader had spun. How come the Lord Hokage doesn't do anything? Kakashi sighed. Before the third Hokage could be reinstated after the death of the fourth Hokage, the civilian council snatched as much power that they could get their grubby hands on. As such, most of the things that the Lord Hokage has tried to do for Naruto have been shot down or bogged down in red tape. It's been getting better, but Lord Sarutobi still has a lot to do to regain those powers taken by the council. But still, Sakura was looking lost. Her mother was on the civilian council, though she had always told her about the idiots on the council picking on some poor kid. Was that Naruto? Why do so many people hate Naruto? Kakashi's mind spun into overdrive. He had to say something that made sense, but he couldn't tell or even imply about the fox currently residing in Naruto's gut. The mere fact that he had been born on that night Naruto was born the night that the Kyuubi no Yoko, the nine-tailed demon fox, attacked Konoha. As such, many of those who dislike Naruto think that he's the demon reborn, that the fourth Hokage turned the Kyuubi into a human baby with no memories of his past life. Sasuke snored. Civilians are idiots. Can't see the cup for the water. Tsunami was near tears. That poor boy. So young and yet has been through so much. Tazuna agreed. It was enough to make him drink even more. Kakashi gave a deep sigh. Naruto has put that behind him, for the most part. Don't shower him with pity. He doesn't want or need it. He dropped that mask years ago. Just treat him as you would anyone else. It's probably the most he'll ever ask of anyone. Kakashi took in everyone's expressions and the awkward, uncomfortable silence in the air. Let's get back to work, shall we? Zabuza staggered into his hideout with a relieved sigh. Everything was still there. Nodding to his blood clone, Zabuza sent it out to stand guard. Sitting next to the single bed in the room, Zabuza stared sadly at his adoptive daughter. Her normally pale face was even paler, sweat glistening on her. Chills racked her body, ironically so considering she had the Hayatan, or ice nature bloodline. An 4 bag filled with nutrients was linked to her inability to keep anything down thanks to the poison necessitating feeding nutrients directly into her bloodstream. The demon of the mist brushed a lock of Haku's hair out of her face, feeling how hot her forehead was. Hold in there, kid. Everything's going to be over soon. You got that right. Zabuza didn't even turn around. Gatu. The short businessman was flanked by a pair of Ronin samurai. He gestured at Zabuza with his cane. How come the bridge builder isn't dead yet? He isn't dead yet, Zabuza turned to face his employer. Because I underestimated his protection. Rest assured, he will be dead at the end of the week. I'll need that time to prepare. Oh? Gata looked skeptical. And what, pray tell, do you need time to prepare for? One of the ninja the bridge builder hired has a dojutsu. I need the time to finish my countermeasure. Gata sneered. So much for ninja, you can't even beat children. Very well, you have until the end of the week. He leered at Haku's shaking body. You better hope for her sake that you succeed. The slimy shipping tycoon turned to leave. Gatu. The man turned to look at Zabuza, the ninja's back to him. Aren't you forgetting something? Sneering, Gatu gestured to one of his men, causing his bodyguard to throw something to Zabuza. The missing nin caught it without looking. Remember. 1 week. Zabuza listened until Gatu and his 2 goons were gone. Sighing, he went to the 4 bag. Taking the syringe Gata's henchman had given, he injected the contents into the line. After a few minutes, Haku's shaking subsided and her face regained some color. Sighing, Zabuza looked out the open window. I hope you know what you're doing, brat. Gatu sat at his desk in his private office, his 2 Ronin bodyguards standing before him. He poured himself a glass of wine. I don't trust Zabuza. Send word out to the various bandit groups. I want enough men to take him out. The 2 disgraced samurai shared a look before one spoke up. Why would Zabuza turn against you? You hold his daughter's life in your hands. His partner continued. Besides, won't Zabuza be able to kill most of the bandits we hire? He is a ninja, after all. Gatu chuckled as he stood to access his hidden wall safe. Oh, I know, but I don't trust ninja. He opened the safe. Besides, the more he kills means the fewer I have to pay, and I can turn the so-called demon in for the reward money. It's win-win. Gatu put his latest balance book in the safe and closed the door, never noticing the missing vial that used to be in the back. A few days later Naruto woke up. He had spent most of the night training, finally able to reach the top of the tree the day before and had been trying to make it so that it was second nature. Getting dressed, he saw a note on the nightstand. Naruto. You were still sleeping when it was time to leave to protect Tazuna at the bridge. You've been working so hard at training that I decided to let you sleep in. Come join us at the bridge when you get up. Kakashi. A scream from downstairs broke Naruto from rereading the letter. Vaulting through the door and down the stairs, Naruto saw two Ronin menacing Tsunami and Inari. Inari, having been talked to by Kakashi about heroes, sacrifice and strength, ran at the Ronin with a kitchen knife, only to be kicked away with barely a glance in his direction. One of the Ronin licked the flat of his katana. Look, you can either come with us quietly, lady, or... His companion chuckled evilly. Or we can kill the kid and take you with us anyways. So what's it gonna be? How about you two go to hell? The two Ronin were knocked to the ground, Naruto's bladed gauntlets sticking out of the back of their skulls. Pulling his gauntlets free, Naruto wiped the blades clean on the corpse's clothes. He grimaced. What he'd been told was true, the killing never did get any easier. At least he wasn't vomiting and bawling like he had after his first kill. Naruto turned to Tsunami and Inari. You guys okay? Tsunami nodded, while Inari looked at Naruto like he was God. Tsunami held Inari tightly. They said something was happening at the bridge. Naruto nodded. Got it. Keep the door locked, get somewhere safe, alright? Not waiting for a response, Naruto ran out the door, gauntlets still on his hands. Halfway to the bridge, a shadow blurred out of the forest and ran next to the blonde genin. Hey kid. Naruto looked aside at Meizu. We got the antidote to Haku. Gozu is watching her. I'll be joining him shortly. You let the boss know, alright? Getting an affirmative from Naruto, Meizu split off from the boy and disappeared back into the underbrush. Before long, Naruto came upon a thick patch of fog covering the end of the unfinished bridge. Diving in, Naruto made out the forms of Kakashi fighting Zabuza while Sasuke and Sakura covered Tazuna from any sneak attacks. Coming to a halt next to Kakashi, Naruto looked at Zabuza. Hey Zabuza, Meizu and Gozu got the antidote to Haku. Zabuza lowered his Zanbatsu. Great, let's end this charade then. Focusing his chakra, the demon of the mist let the fog dissipate. As the mist lifted, an arrow hit Zabuza in the back of the knee and pierced through the kneecap. Crying out in surprise and pain, Zabuza collapsed to his good knee while leaning on Kubikaribaku. Well. So, throwing away your daughter's life are we, Zabuza? I heard the kid say you got her the antidote, but what makes you think I can't just send my men over there to kill her? Turning to his assembled army of bandits, Gato cleared his throat. Whoever kills the ninja get a cut of their bounties and whoever kills the bridge builder gets paid double. Snarling, Zabuza tried to stand, but his leg gave out from under him. Damn it! Smirking, Gato eyed Sakura before addressing his thugs again. If you leave the girl alive, feel free to have as much fun with her as you want. At this, Naruto's blood began to boil. An animalistic growl escaped from the back of his throat. He began to slowly step forward as his features grew more feral. His teeth and nails lengthening and growing sharper, his eyes becoming red and slit-pupilled, and his hair taking on a consistency more appropriate for thick fur, all worked to make Naruto's appearance more fearsome. Then, as the growling reached a peak, a blood-red aura came into being around the blonde. An oppressive feeling of dread and doom filled the air as a single tail coalesced from the aura around Naruto's tailbone. Kakashi stared in horror. Is the Kyuubi escaping? As the aura around Naruto thickened, his gauntlets warped before shattering into pieces under the corrosive chakra's influence. Sucking in a deep breath of air through his blackened lips, Naruto let loose with a bowel-loosening, ear-splitting roar. As the army of thugs crapped themselves or tried to run, Naruto blitzed forward in a charge, leaving Zabuza, Tazuna and Team 7 behind in shock. Disappearing in a flash of speed, Naruto reappeared in the midst of the thug army. Anakin, Kagetsu, demon style, Shadow Claw, several bandits around Naruto fell to pieces as the blood-red aura around his hands stretched into razor claws, the claws passing through flesh and seemingly leaving rends in the air itself. Several arrows stabbed into Naruto's side before dissolving under the corrosive influence of the Kyuubi's chakra. Turning to the bank of archers before him, Naruto sucked in a massive amount of air, the suction causing several of the thugs to fall over or lose balance. Anatin, Fukusuna Kaze, demon style, ominous wind, a black wave of repulsive wind laced with the Kyuubi's chakra blew over the bandits, the caustic nature killing several outright as their flesh eroded, while the rest were all incapacitated. A group of Ronin ran at the demonically charged genin. Snarling, Naruto gathered the Kyuubi's chakra into his mouth before hawking it up as if spitting a loogie. Anatin, Shadoboru, demon style, Shadow Ball, the blob of dark red chakra landed amongst the grouped Ronin. Exploding outwards, the Shadow Ball had similar results to the ominous wind, killing several and leaving the rest to flee or die a slow and painful death. Back on the bridge, Team 7, Zabuza and Tazuna were joined by a recently revived Haku being supported by Gozu and Meizu. Staring at the carnage at the end of the bridge, They all watched in horrified awe as Naruto tore through the panicking bandits, like a razor through flesh. Finally, Gato and his 2 bodyguards were the only ones left. The 2 bodyguards charged forward, katanas raised. The first was caught by 2 chakra claws before he was torn grisly in half. The second dodged another shadow claw attack and slashed at Naruto's face, blinding him in one eye. Before he could attempt to follow up, a chakra claw caught the surviving bodyguard and squeezed. As the 2 halves of the man fell to the ground, Naruto slowly turned towards Gato. Whimpering pitifully, Gato turned to run, but was brought to the ground as something snagged his ankle. Rolling over, Gato saw an arm of chakra extending from the red-shrouded boy's outstretched arm clutching his ankle. Screaming in terror, Gato clawed at the ground to get away as the contracting chakra arm pulled him closer to the demonic child behind him. A red-cloaked hand clutched around the fat man's neck and hoisted him into the air. Gato tried to bargain for his life, but the claw around his neck was cutting off all air to his lungs. Bringing the sniveling weasel to his face, Naruto forced chakra into his brain. Anaton, Akumu, demon style, nightmare, Gato screamed as horrors assaulted his imagination before his heart burst from the terror. Dropping the corpse in disgust, Naruto roared into the sky as his rage dissipated along with the cloak of Kyuubi chakra. Falling to his knees, Naruto passed out as red chakra began to heal his various wounds. Naruto opened his eyes to find himself in a vast forest. Dang kid, when you get mad, you don't mess around, do you? Naruto turned around to see the Kyuubi lying down behind him, a bronze collar replacing the jail cell bars the same way Naruto's sewer mindscape was replaced with a forest. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Yeah, I kinda lost it when the team referred to Sakura as a prize to be given away. He looked around. So, what's the damage this time? The Kyuubi rose to his feet while shrinking down to the size of a regular fox. Well, there's several cuts and bruises covering your body, along with a few cracked bones and torn ligaments. In addition, that last thug you killed nearly cut out your eye. The Kyuubi held up a hand-like paw as Naruto worriedly covered his left eye. Don't worry. I'm already fixing it as we speak. However, before I continue, I want you to know that I can improve it for you. Naruto put his hand down and raised an eyebrow. How would you do that? Well, you know the aura sense technique you can do? Naruto nodded. I can turn that into a Kekii Genkai. That way, you'd be able to use it on the fly and without having to go through a bunch of hand seals. I'd have done it already, but the seal won't let me do anything short of healing you without your permission. Naruto nodded. Go ahead. You've got permission, believe it. The Kyuubi sighed. I really thought we'd taken care of that. Oh well. Alright, time for you to leave. I think there's a few people who want to speak with you. I'll let you know when your eye is fixed. Naruto faded from the mindscape as he woke up. When he woke up, everyone was notably worried for him. Naruto quickly reassured everyone that he was going to be okay before pulling Kakashi to the side and telling him about his conversation with the fox. While worried that the fox was trying to influence his student, Kakashi agreed to keep Naruto's fledgling new bloodline a secret until he could tell others himself. With Gato and his bandits gone, construction on the bridge went by quickly. It wasn't long before construction was all completed. Do you guys really have to go so soon? Naruto nodded to Inari, his left eye covered in bandages. Yeah, I'm afraid so. I mean, we'd love to stay, but we need to return home. Seeing Inari's downcast look, Naruto gave a foxy grin. Don't worry, I'm sure we'll be back someday. Gives everyone something to look forward to. As Inari's face lit up, everyone said their goodbyes. Waving farewell, Team 7 crossed the bridge for Fire Country and home. Had they stayed a bit longer, they would have heard Tazuna and the grateful townsfolk name the bridge the Great Naruto Bridge. Before long, Team 7 was confronted by Zabuza. Kakashi eyed him warily. Hello Zabuza, how can I help you? Zabuza sighed as Haku and the demon brothers joined him. I was hoping me and my family could seek asylum in Konoha. Kakashi blinked, along with the rest of Team 7. They had not been expecting that. I'm sure the Lord Hokage would be delighted to have ninja of your skill join the village, but if I may ask, for what reason do you want to join? I'm tired of running. Zabuza leaned against a tree. I'm tired of having to constantly watch my back day in and day out. I'd like to be able to relax without having to worry about Haku, and after what happened with Gato, I don't think we can afford to be on the run for much longer. Kakashi nodded. He could understand that. Alright, follow us then. I don't think I have to tell you no funny business, do I? Nope. Before long, the 8 ninja were leaping through the trees heading for Konoha, and hopefully, home. Hiruzen Sarutobi put down the report, and eyed the 8 ninja standing before him. Alright, while I don't like that you went on ahead with the mission without calling for backup Kakashi, I am glad we now have a new trade partner in Wave Country. The third turned to Sasuke and Sakura. Now, I know Naruto and Kakashi explained about Cuddles on the way back, but I have to emphasize that Cuddles is an S-class secret punishable by death or a trip to Ibiki. Understood? Sakura and Sasuke nodded nervously. Good. Now, will someone please explain to me why there's a group of missing nin from the mist in my office? Zabuza stepped forward and gave a short, respectful bow. If it pleases my lord, we wish to seek asylum in Konoha. The third cocked an eyebrow. I see. Would you be willing to join our ninja corps? Zabuza nodded. We would. Excellent. Now, Hiruzen pulled out his bingo book. I know from the bingo book that you are a jounin while the demon brothers are chunin, but what about your daughter? Haku would be at about high chunin, low jounin level, seeing as she has taken down several hunter nin from the mist. Haku stepped forward when Hiruzen asked what her skills were. I am an accomplished shot with Senbon, and have extensive knowledge of the human anatomy as well as several herbs and poultices. I also have my bloodline that I am still working to master. She seemed to debate with herself for a moment. If at all possible, I'd prefer to be a medic, as I do not enjoy killing. Sarutobi nodded sagely. I worry about anyone who does. I don't think that will be a problem. The third opened a drawer and pulled out 4 ninja Hittite with leaf insignias on them before handing them to the 4 former missing nin. Now, I am instating you 4 as special chunin and special jounin for a probationary period of 3 months. At the end of the probationary period, you will be tested to see if you are deserving of promotion to regular status. A look went across Hiruzen's face, like he had just tasted something foul. He dismissed Team 7, accepting Naruto as he had had the most contact with Zabuza and his adoptive family in the past. Now, Haku, since you are the last known holder of your bloodline and the last known member of the extinct Hayasetsu clan and as such are essentially clanless, the council might try and force the CRA Act onto you. I'll do my best to stop this, but unfortunately, after the death of the last Hokage, the civilian council took a lot of power they had no business holding. As it is, unless they commit treason, I cannot strip the council of its power without the Fire Daimyo's permission, and I have been unable to give him a valid reason to do so. Zabuza snarled. Like hell they'll turn my little girl into a baby factory. Before Hiruzen could say anything, Naruto spoke up. Why not adopt Haku into the Uzumaki clan? Everyone turned to stare at Naruto. Hiruzen inclined his head forward. Explain. Naruto swallowed dryly before he elaborated. Well, since Haku doesn't have a clan, I figured that as the last of the Uzumaki clan in Konoha, I could adopt her into the clan. And seeing as the clan head has the final say in arranged marriages for clan members, the council wouldn't be able to touch her. Naruto's eyes glazed over for a moment before he turned to Zabuza. Of course, since I'm still underage and a genin, I figure I need someone to sit in on council meetings for me until I become of age and a chunin, a favorite uncle, perhaps? Everyone was staring at Naruto in shock, including one of the hidden ANBU bodyguards who had fallen out of his hiding spot in the rafters in surprise. Naruto, that's brilliant. How did you come up with that? Naruto turned to the Hokage. It was actually Cuddle's idea, old man. He paused. I don't think everyone will fit into my apartment though. Everyone? Well, yeah. Naruto looked at the demon brothers. I figured you guys would want in too. Meizu and Goza looked at each other. It would be nice to have family again. They turned to Naruto and spoke together. We're in. The Hokage smiled. Well then, let's get the paperwork out of the way then. He glared balefully at the piles of paper covering his desk. He swore it grew every time he looked away from it. As for accommodations, I'm afraid someone tried to burn down your apartment building, Naruto. Fortunately, the fire was put out before too much damage was done, but I'm afraid the building had to be condemned. So, I took the liberty of purchasing a newer, unoccupied apartment building under your name. I'm sure it'll have plenty of room for your revived clan. Naruto grinned widely as what his Jiji told him sunk home. You're a sly old geezer, ain't ya? Indeed. Now, can we get this paperwork out of the way before it multiplies like the rest? Everyone present sweat dropped. Sure. Naruto sat in his new apartment staring at the bank statement in his hands. So many zeros. I don't even know where to start with so much money. To think Mom and Dad, whoever he was, were so loaded. When Hiruzen Sarutobi gave Naruto the codes for the Uzumaki clan bank accounts, he had told Naruto about his mother, though refrained from telling him who his father was, stating that because of the many enemies his father had made, it wasn't safe for Naruto to know who his father was until he was 18 years old or became a chunin. Hey brat. Naruto was broken from his musings by Zabuza's entrance. If we're going to be a clan, we need an armory. Got anything in mind? Not really. Why don't you take care of it? I mean, go crazy. Zabuza would have arched an eyebrow if he had any. You sure we have the money? Naruto showed him the bank statement. Holy shit. That's a lot of zeros. That's what I said. Well, anyways, where should we put the armory? Naruto scratched his head. I don't really know. But since you're the acting Uzumaki clan head, shouldn't you be making the decisions about that sort of thing? Huh. You make a good point, brat. Zabuza turned around. Oh, by the way, Haku's decided to take over the second floor as a clinic. Said something about poisons and medicines too. And Gozu and Meizu are out shopping for supplies to make a dojo, amongst other things. I figure we should put that next to the clinic in case of emergencies. I suppose you showed them the invis? Yeah. Gozu fainted from the shock. Really? Oh, I am never going to let him live that down. Anyways, I'll see you later, brat, I got shopping to do. Tenten Higurashi was manning the register of the family blacksmith and weapons shop. Although she had graduated from the Ninja Academy a year before, she still enjoyed working at the shop whenever she could. She especially enjoyed taking care of the weapons. The girl, whose hair was done up in a pair of buns that made her look like a panda, was so into weapons that people had begun to call her Konoha's weapons mistress. Although she would deny it, she tended to get a little hot under the collar when thinking about wielding a weapon like one of the 7 swords of the mist. The ringing bell that accompanied the door opening pulled Tenten from her daydreaming. She looked up to find 2 unfamiliar cloaked men wearing hideatesh and rebreathers walking in. She put on her best salesgirl smile. Hi, welcome to Tetsuryu, what can I help you with? One of the men spoke. 2 things. Do you do custom hideatesh? The other continued as they both put something on the countertop in front of Tenten. And can you make a pair of these with one size fits all and preservation and repair seals? Tenten took a look at the objects before her with a practiced eye. Oh yeah, we can do both of those. Just leave your hideatesh here with what you want done, and we'll get them back to you by the end of the week. As for this, she pointed at the objects on the counter. When do you want these done? Preferably before the Chunin exams. And see if you can't use chakra metal. Oh sure, we can do that, but it's going to cost you. The 2 smiled behind their rebreathers. Oh, don't worry. We've got it covered. Well, alright then. We'll have the designs done by Tuesday, so you can pick up your hideatesh then as well. The 2 men nodded and left the shop. Tenten turned to the back. Hey Dad! Heat up the forge. We got a special order. 1 month later. At brat, wake up. Naruto groaned as he rolled over and covered his head with his pillow. Right, you asked for it, brat. Naruto yelped in surprise as he was flipped off his mattress and onto the floor. Pushing his mattress off of him, Naruto glared at Zabuza blearily. What the for? Brat, have you forgotten what today is? Naruto's eyes widened, his sleepiness forgotten. The Chunin exams. He got up to get dressed. Bingo. Hey, before you go, Meizu and Goza have something for you. They're in the kitchen. Go see them before you leave. Naruto finished dressing. Got it. Naruto flexed his new gloves as he checked out the Fuinjutsu storage seals etched into the metal plates on the backs. He couldn't wait to use their contents. Gozu and Meizu had really outdone themselves when they got it for him. Too bad he hadn't had them when he had to confront some genin from Suna the other day. He stopped at the top of the stairs, Sasuke and Sakura right behind him. They were at the academy, for the first part of the Chunin exams being held on the 3rd floor. Ahead of them, a large group of genin from various villages were crowded around a door marked 301, their way blocked by a pair of genin who looked suspiciously like the 2 Chunin who frequently guarded the gates of Konoha. Thing was, they had only gone up 1 flight of stairs. Naruto went to go up the next flight of stairs, but Sasuke went to confront the 2 disguised Chunin guarding the door. Drop the genjutsu, you're not fooling anybody. Naruto facepalmed. Hard. It's gonna be a long day. Kakashi was waiting at the door to room 301 to greet his team. Ah, good, I'm glad you're all. What's wrong with Sasuke? Naruto looked over his shoulder at the twitching body he had been dragging by the feet, while Sakura supported the shoulders. Bushy brows Mini-Me challenged Duckbutt to a spar. It got out of hand and I had to jump in and get him with pressure points. Not quite as clean as the Hyuga clan's Jukin, but not as painful and harder to use in battle. Ah, well, if all 3 of you hadn't shown up, I'd have had to prevent you from entering. Kakashi noticed Rock Lee in all his green spandex glory being dragged behind his teammate, Tenten Hishiraji, by 1 foot. Walking past Team 7, she nodded gratefully to Naruto, happy that her teammate was quiet, for a change. Kakashi turned to Naruto. What about him? Naruto grimaced. Well, when I dropped Sasuke, Lee went to fight me, but then he intervened, and then they started hugging. So I got them both. As far as I know, Bushy Brows is still twitching in the arena. Kakashi tried, but he couldn't help himself. He started to laugh. You be better G get inside B before they get SNRK started. Kakashi left, trying desperately to control his mirth at how his self-proclaimed eternal rival was blindsided by one of his students. Shrugging, Naruto carried Sasuke inside with Sakura's help and propped him in a seat before pinching a pressure point on the neck. Jerking upright, Sasuke glared at Naruto, who held up a hand. Before you say anything, you missed the sunset. Sasuke paled a bit, and then glared at Naruto again, but not as intensely this time. I'm still going to get you for that. Naruto shrugged. Fair enough. A blast of killing intent caught Naruto's attention. Turning, he saw the source, the genin team from Sunagekure, the village hidden in the sand. Riddled with barely suppressed bloodlust, most, if not all of the Ki was coming from the redhead with the kanji for love tattooed in red above his left eye. Snarling as he released his own Ki, Naruto remembered the first time they met. 5 days ago. Naruto was chasing after Sakura, who was currently hunting down Konohamaru, the Hokage's grandson, and his friends after they made the mistake of talking about Sakura's forehead, ever a sore subject for the self-conscious Kunoichi. He watched as they ran around a corner. Hey, watch where you're going, brat. Put me down. Naruto turned the corner to find a boy in a black, baggy suit with cat ears on the hood and makeup with a large bandaged bundle on his back holding Konohamaru off the ground by the front of his shirt, a sandy blonde with 4 pigtails and a large metal object on her back standing next to him. Leaning against the wall, Naruto took in the Hideatesh with hourglass markings. Sunagekure. Must be here for the Chunin exams. Hey, makeup boy. The boy in black turned on Naruto with a snarl. It's war paint. Sure, look, you want to put the kid down, please? The boy shook Konohamaru a bit. Yeah, sure, right after I teach him a lesson. Naruto turned his attention to the girl. So. Temari. That's Kankuro, my brother. I see. Anyways, you want to tell him to drop the Hokage's grandson, or do the A and B watching from all around have to do it for you? Visibly paling, Kankuro dropped Konohamaru like a hot coal. Sticking his tongue out at the Suna Genin, Konohamaru gave Naruto a quick hug and thanks before running off with his friends. Before Naruto could say anything, someone appeared in a sand shunshin. The sand fell away to reveal a redhead with deep bags beneath his dead, gray eyes, the kanji for love tattooed above the left eye in red. A large gourd the color of sand hung off his left shoulder across his back. Kankuro looked ready to pass out in terror upon seeing him. Jigara, I was just. Kankuro. Even his voice was dead-sounding, absolutely no life in it whatsoever. Shut up or I'll kill you. He turned to Naruto as Kankuro shook in fright. I apologize for my brother. I am Gaara of the desert. What is your name? Naruto Uzumaki, head of the Uzumaki clan in Konoha and son of the Red Death herself. Gaara seemed to listen to something only he could hear before responding. Mother wants your blood. Ah, hell. Kyubi? I think that kid's the Jinchuriki for Shikaku, the Ichibi no Tanuki, the one-tailed raccoon dog. He always was a bit bloodthirsty, even by our standards, but some idiot monk tried to seal his consciousness into him, and it drove him crazy. Didn't know gender confusion was part of it though. Thanks, Cuddles. Cutting off the mental link with the Kyubi before he could start yelling, Naruto turned his attention back to Gaara and his siblings as they turned to leave. Number 1. Know your place while you're here, or I as number 9 will have to put you there. Understood? A mad light gleamed in Gaara's eye. Mother really wants your blood now. Naruto watched in disgust as the representation of what he could have become walked away. Turning away, he walked past the shell-shocked Sakura to report the encounter to the Hokage. Naruto was broken from his reverie by an older genin with white hair who nervously prodded him on the shoulder. Hey, you're really drawing attention to yourself. Naruto realized he had been leaking Cuddles' chakra into his Ki and drew it back. Looking around, Naruto's sweat dropped as he saw a few teams around and between himself and Gaara had passed out from the combined demon-laced killing intents. Sorry about that. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. The older boy adjusted his round-framed glasses before taking the offered hand. Kabuto Yakushi. So, you're the new head of the Uzumaki clan, huh? I heard you really ticked off the civilian council when you declared the ice user a part of your clan. Good job. Naruto chuckled. Yeah, I don't like them either, most of them are self-serving assholes. Anyways, this is my first time here. How about you? Kabuto chuckled in embarrassment. My seventh. Pathetic, I know, but it's let me collect a lot of information on the people entering these exams. Cool. Naruto nodded in appreciation. Anybody I should watch out for in particular? Well, I'd stay away from that sand team. Aside from them, the only real team of note is a group from the New Sound village, but they're probably not as strong as some of the more established villages. Naruto noticed that 3 genin with musical eighth notes on their hideates looked like they were ready to start something. Fortunately, the proctors took that opportunity to arrive in a cloud of smoke. Alright, everyone sit down and shut up. After everyone had sat down in assigned seats, the bearded man with the bandana hideate who had spoken earlier cleared his throat. Alright, maggots. My name is Ibiki Marino, head of interrogation and torture here in Konoha, and I am the proctor of the first test. This shall be a written test. Several genin groaned, including Naruto. Shut up. You will have 45 minutes to answer the first 9 questions. There will be no cheating. If you get caught cheating 3 times, you and your entire team will be disqualified. After 45 minutes, you will be given the final question. You may begin now. Turning over his test, Naruto stared at the questions. What the hell? These questions are impossible for a genin to answer. Well, any genin not as smart as Sakura. I mean, it's almost like they want us to cheat. Naruto looked around stealthily. The girl next to him, Hinata Hyuga, a painfully shy kunoichi, blushed madly when he looked her way. Why, you can copy off of me and Naruto. Naruto shook his head slightly, noticing that the genin on the other side of him appeared to be already done. Upon closer inspection, it appeared that the answers were written in ink, as opposed to the pencils the tested were given. A plant? Only one way to find out. Thanks, Hinata, but I got it covered. He turned to the genin opposite Hinata. Excuse me, there's something on your paper. What? The clueless plant looked down at his paper. Where? Naruto grabbed the back of the faux genin's head and bashed it into the desk, knocking him senseless. There. Smiling triumphantly, Naruto took the unconscious boy's test paper and replaced his name with his own as the proctor jumped to his feet. Uzumaki! What the hell do you think you're doing? Naruto smiled at him foxily. Cheating. I still have 2 strikes left too. Ibiki blinked, before smiling at the boy's guts. I'll allow it. But anyone else who tries will be automatically disqualified. A genin from AIM, the village hidden in the rain, jumped to his feet in an outburst. What? Why does he get to do it? Because he thought of it first, and because I said so. Does anyone else have any complaints? No? Good. At the end of the first 45 minutes, Ibiki had everyone put down their pencils. Now, before you take the last question, know this. If you fail the question, you'll be stuck a genin forever. What? That's impossible. There are people here who've taken the test before. Ibiki eyed the speaker evilly. Well, they never had the misfortune of having me as proctor before. So, give up and try again, or risk staying a genin forever. The choice is yours. Several teams quit before Naruto slammed a palm against the desktop when it looked like Hinata and Sakura were getting ready to quit. I don't care, I'm going to be a genin forever, it doesn't mean I can't get stronger. Besides, no rule says you have to be a certain rank to be Hokage, so give us the damn question. Ibiki searched the room. Nobody else is leaving? Well then, you all pass. There was an uproar as people began to demand what the last question was. Ibiki responded by taking off his bandana, revealing numerous and horrendous scars caused by torture sometime in his past. The last question was to see if you were willing to risk your life on a mission when you didn't have any information. It is a risk you will face as you serve your home village, a risk of capture, of torture, and for you kunoichi, much worse at the hands of your enemies. That is why if you weren't willing to risk everything on a gamble, you weren't ready to become chunin. As Ibiki put his bandana hideate back on, a black ball burst through the window, unfurling into a banner that stretched across the blackboard. Presenting the single and every sexy proctor of the second exam, Anko Mitarashi. Naruto dropped his head onto the desk with a loud thud as a purple-haired woman in a tan trench coat, and not much else appeared in a cloud of smoke. Oh great. It just had to be her. The entire classroom stared at the scantily clad woman as the smoke cleared. Ibiki put a hand to his face in exasperation as he shook his head. Anko, you're early? Again. Pulling his hand down his face, Ibiki took another look at Anko's kunai pin banner. And your sign has a typo on it. Anko took a look at her sign and let loose a stream of blistering invective that made most of the genin, and quite a few of the chunin proctors in the room blush. Sighing in exasperation, she pulled out a stick of dango and started munching on it. Oh well. Alright maggots. I am Anko Mitarashi, the proctor for the second exam. I am going to cut this group in half. Be at training ground 44 in 10 minutes. She gave the room a sadistic smile that promised pain. Don't be late. Laughing psychotically, she jumped out another window. Ibiki pinched the bridge of his nose as he took in the broken glass and the two empty window frames. We go through more windows that way. He turned his attention to the slack-jawed and partially petrified genin filling the room. Well? What are you idiots waiting for? Get going! The room was empty before he could blink. 10 minutes later saw the remaining genin standing in clumped groups outside a tall, barbed wire-topped chain-link fence. Many of the genin would glance nervously at the dark jungle-like forest beyond the fence, as the various sounds and screams of hunting and dying animals came from within. Sasuke and Sakura, however, were more focused on their somewhat jumpy teammate. Sakura's eye twitched as Naruto jumped and started at random sounds as his head whipped around to try and find the purple-haired proctor. Naruto, what in Kami's name are you doing? Naruto flicked his eyes back and forth. The proctor, has it out for me. I kinda ruined a plate of dango during a prank once. Sasuke snorted. Is that all? Naruto glared at the Uchiha. Apparently, she feels the same way about dango that I do about ramen. Sakura and Sasuke blinked. Having seen how much ramen Naruto could eat in a single sitting and the funeral held for a bowl of spilled ramen, the pair silently promised to themselves to stay away from the woman's dango. They jumped in surprise and not a small amount of terror as an arm snaked around Naruto's shoulders, a kunai held loosely to his jugular. You're damn straight. Naruto gave a strangled shriek before using kawarimi to hide behind his teammates. Laughing madly, her pupilless brown eyes twinkling in amusement, Anko went off to explain and begin the second exam. Naruto was so busy trying to get his heart restarted that he missed the altercation between the bloodthirsty kunoichi, a kunai, Kiba Inuzuka, and a strange kunoichi genin from Kusagakure with a very long tongue. In the remote training ground 67, a massive cave system once used during the Third Shinobi World War to train Konoha nin to fight and navigate in the underground caves and bunkers favored by Iwagakure, a swirling pinkish-purplish vortex opened in the air. 4 figures emerged and the portal closed. Lucario moved to the entrance to the cave complex and took a deep breath of air. He looked to his left as Mutuo floated up next to him. They stood there together for a moment, taking in the village below the training ground before Mutuo chuckled. Lucario lifted an eyebrow. Mutuo got his chortling under control before explaining. The irony of the situation just occurred to me. Usually it's a human that comes to the Pokemon world, not the other way around. Lucario shook his head in amusement. True. Although, there's usually a rise in mystery dungeons, are there not? Very true. Lucario turned to face Mutuo fully. Thank you for bringing us back to Konoha. I know it's not easy for you. Mutuo flapped a 3-fingered paw at the jackal Pokemon. Meh. It was no problem. I needed to get away from you for a bit. He may be my older brother, but he acts like a child so very often. At any rate, I felt like looking in on our favorite human. He reminds me very much of another human I once knew. The fighting/steel type jerked his head over to stare intently at a large forested area with a tower in the center nearby as the 2 figures behind them stirred. Ugh. I do not care for doing that, at all. A small yellow mouse-like Pokemon with red spots on his cheeks and a lightning bolt tail sat up and rubbed his head between his 2 long, black-tipped ears. He turned to the Pokemon lying next to him. You alright, Riolu? Blee, Riolu, a small black and blue-furred dog-like Pokemon groaned from where she lay. I feel horrible, Pikachu. She lifted up her head and glared at Lucario. Dad, did we have to go through the distortion world? Dad? Lucario narrowed his eyes as he scanned the forest, the aura-sensing appendages on the back of his head raised and glowing slightly. Something foul is in that forest. Before Mutuo could respond, he felt a familiar and corrosive presence emitting from the forest. Lucario. I feel it too. Riolu, Pikachu, we need to move. Pikachu and Riolu jumped to attention as they heard the no-nonsense tone in Lucario's voice. Yes, sir. Lucario and Mutuo raced out of the cave, Pikachu and Riolu following close behind. Naruto swore silently as the bits of snake rained down around him. The second test was a survival test where one had either a Heaven Scroll or an Earth Scroll, and had to obtain the other from another team of genin. After an encounter with a team from Emigakure, the Hidden Rain Village, a massive blast of wind had separated Naruto from the rest of Team 7. Before Naruto could regain his bearings, a massive snake attacked from his blind spot. His left eye was covered by a black eye patch until the QB finished fixing his eye, swallowing him whole. Panicking slightly, Naruto had spammed shadow clones to the point that the snake burst from the pressure. As he tried to get the snake bits off of him, the chunks of snake corpse vanished in puffs of smoke. Wait, that was a summons? The only person to use snake summons is Anko, but I don't think she'd interfere with the exams, even for Dango, so who oh no. A horrified realization came over Naruto as he recalled a class on traitors to Konoha. Channeling chakra to his legs, Naruto raced as fast as he could through the trees, scattering a team from Kiri like bowling pins as he did so. Please be okay. Naruto landed on a high tree branch, his eyes widening at the sheer amount of killing intent radiating off the strange Kusa Kunoichi that had an altercation with Anko and Kiba before the exam. Sakura was all but passed out against a tree while Sasuke stood panting, blood dribbling down a self-inflicted wound in his leg. Before Naruto could jump in, the Kusa Genin was suddenly in front of the Uchiha, and Sasuke was sent crashing painfully into a tree trunk. Naruto could only watch in horror as the Genin's neck stretched unnaturally out, her befanged mouth biting down on Sasuke's neck. Sasuke's scream of agony allowed Naruto to move against the oppressive killing intent. Get away from my teammate! Futon, Iketo, wind style, air cutter. A series of wind blades were thrown at the Kusa Nin, dicing her to little bits, only for the bits of Nin to turn to mud. A chill went down Naruto's back as a cold chuckle sounded behind him. My, such an impressive wind jutsu from someone your age. You even escaped my pet. Perhaps you'd make a good vessel as well. Naruto swallowed nervously. Oh, this is so not good. He spun around. Thanks, but I don't swing that way, Snake. An impact that Naruto couldn't even see coming smashed into his stomach, rocketing him across the clearing. Cursing his blind spot on his left and the lack of depth perception, Naruto launched himself off his branch to avoid a barrage of snakes launched at him from the Kusanin's sleeves. So you've figured out who I am, eh? The Kusanin reached up and tore off her face, revealing a pale, almost white-skinned man with purple marks around his eyes. You are smarter than you seem. How would you like the power to show those smarts, Naruto put his hands into the Tora seal as he focused his chakra, and not a little of the Kyubis as well. Yeah, it wasn't that hard to figure out, Orochimaru. You're the only one outside of Konoha who uses snake summons aside from Anko. As for your offer, you can stick it up your ass, it's not happening, pedophile. Katan Kane Hoshiki, fire style, flamethrower. A jet of poisonous, reddish-orange fire raged from Naruto's mouth, the wash of bijou-enhanced flames enveloping the traitorous snake sage. Naruto cut off the flow of chakra, letting the fire die down to reveal a baked clay statue of the snake-like man. IWA Bunshin, Earth Clone. A fist dug into Naruto's back from behind and to his left, nearly shattering his ribs and throwing him from the branch he stood on. Naruto rolled over with a groan to see a heavily burnt and seething Orochimaru. Apparently, the pedophile comment had struck a little too close to home for the snake's Sannin. Snarling at the boy, the traitorous Nin opened his jaw impossibly wide before disgorging a perfectly healthy and unharmed copy. Tossing aside the shed body, Orochimaru sneered at the blonde genin. That hurt you, brat. For the next few minutes, Naruto's world was dominated by pain as the snake's Sannin thrashed the boy back and forth across the clearing. Eventually, Naruto found himself against a tree next to an unconscious Sasuke being stood over by the snake-like Sannin. I'm impressed, boy. I didn't think you'd be able to stay conscious. My offer still stands. Come with me, and you'll have more power than you could possibly imagine. Naruto forced himself to his feet, blood dribbling down the corner of his mouth. Not on your life. Anaton, Dokusasu, demon style, poison jab, forcing the caustic bijou chakra of the Kyubi into his right fist, Naruto stabbed his hand at Orochimaru in a textbook knife fist, only for the Sannin to grab his arm by the wrist and strangle him with his unnaturally long tongue. TSK. So unwise. It appears that you have some control over your bijou, Oh, that's right, I know all about your burden. Orochimaru caught another bijou chakra enhanced strike before slamming the boy against a tree to stun him. Such fighting you. Well, we'll just have to remedy that, won't we? Lifting up the hem of Naruto's shirt, Orochimaru cocked back his free hand, fingers in a clawed position. As he thrust the clawed hand at Naruto's bared stomach, a sickly purple aura enveloped the fingertips. Gagyo Fu. A blue pulse connected with Orochimaru, interrupting his sealing technique. As Naruto fell back down to the ground, he could hardly believe his eye. One moment, Orochimaru was about to hit him in the seal on his stomach, the next, the Sannin was 50 feet away and partially embedded in a tree trunk to his left. Turning his head to his right, Naruto's eye widened as he beheld a very relieving sight. Mutuo-sensei, Lucario-sensei, you're back. The gray genetic Pokemon smiled at Naruto. Indeed I am. Lucario, you and the others take the boy and his team to safety. I will deal with the snake. Lucario nodded before putting Naruto on his back. Taking an unconscious Sasuke and Sakura under an arm and Naruto clinging to his back, Lucario dashed off through the trees, Riolu and Pikachu following closely behind. Mutuo waited until they were out of sight before turning his attention back to Orochimaru, who had shed his skin, leaving him in pristine condition once more. Mutuo gave a cruel smile. So, you're back at full health, are you? Excellent. You might provide me with a challenge after all. Orochimaru sneered at the creature before him. It was obviously a summons, but it was too small to pose any danger to him, the snake sage. It had managed to blindside him, that was true, but now that it had his full attention, it would not be long before it lay dead at his feet, or preferably on a laboratory necropsy table. However, Orochimaru's bloodthirsty smile soon melted away at the sight before him. Mutuo was floating up in the air, a blue aura around him. Thrusting his arms to the sides, the same aura manifested around trees, rocks, and various heavy objects around the clearing. With a simple flick of the wrist, everything outlined with a blue glow was torn from the ground to orbit around the psychic Pokemon. His glowing blue eyes met Orochimaru's. You should run. Mutuo thrust his arms forward, launching everything at the traitorous snake. The three genin from Kiri were currently trying to figure out what or who had bowled them over earlier. The only problem was, they couldn't find any trace of it whatsoever. They were just about to give up and look for an opposing team to victimize when they were knocked out by three figures using their heads as stepping stones. Lucario came to a stop at the base of a large tree, possibly the oldest one in the Forest of Death. He turned to Riolu and Pikachu. We will stop here for the night. Riolu, gather firewood. Pikachu, go search for food. I will stand guard. Nodding, Pikachu and Riolu went to complete their given tasks. Lucario checked his students' and his teammates' conditions. He paused as he saw the throbbing mark on Sasuke's neck. I sense a foul aura radiating from that mark. I fear for this boy's sanity if it isn't dealt with soon. Sitting in a lotus position, Lucario closed his eyes and began to watch for aura signatures, the appendages on the back of his head lifting up with a blue glow. Orochimaru was not having a good day. It had started out so well. He had infiltrated the Chunin exams, with no one the wiser, and had marked Sasuke Uchiha with his curse seal with little to no problems. Then that damned Uzumaki brat had arrived and had shown off a powerful wind jutsu, one that he didn't know. Then the brat had the audacity to roast him and call him a pedophile. To top it off, it turned out that the brat had respectable control of his Biju's chakra, a control that could possibly threaten his plans for Konoha. But before he could seal it, some sort of cat summons had appeared and started throwing entire trees and giant rocks at him with nothing but its mind, while a jackal-like summons took his prey away. Mutuo, on the other hand, was silently and internally smirking. Behind the powerful psychic Pokemon was a trail of destruction, consisting of torn-up trees, plants, rocks, and various stunned animals. Before him was a cursing Orochimaru, who had just dodged a particularly vicious white rabbit with red eyes. The IWA Genin team that the Pokemon and Sannin had been passing at the time were not so lucky. Mutuo gave an internal, silent cackle of glee as he recalled the look on Orochimaru's face when he had tossed a very large tiger at him. That girlish squeal of terror would bring him much entertainment and mirth for years to come. He had tried to pick up the Sannin and crush him in his psychic grip, but as soon as Mutuo had picked up the snake traitor, Orochimaru had used a replacement technique to escape his psionic grip. So, he had reverted back to throwing things, a tactic that was proving to be most effective. So far, the pale serpent-like man had been forced to regurgitate himself 5 times. Mutuo ceased his psionic barrage as a purple-haired woman in a trenchcoat, and not much else confronted the Sannin. Intrigued at the expression of fury and betrayed trust, Mutuo made a decision to stay back and watch. The subsequent battle was a short affair. The purplet, Anko, going by what Orochimaru said, attempted to use a mutual suicide jutsu on the white snake, only for it to fail as the shadow clone of the traitor poofed away. Anko was then driven to the ground by a pulse of dark, corrupted energy that Mutuo could sense leaking from something on her neck. As Orochimaru lifted the girl up by her throat, Mutuo decided that it was now the time to intervene. Anko fought against the pain and lack of air as her traitorous former sensei lifted her up. I have a message for you to give, sensei, my dear little Anko. Don't cancel the Chunin exams, or Konoha won't like what happens. Before Orochimaru could do or say anything else though, his arm was enveloped by a blue glow. Anko watched in amazement as the limb holding her in the air suddenly bent in a way that it shouldn't with a sharp snap. Hissing in pain, Orochimaru dropped his former student before melting away into the trees. Staring in disdain after the disappeared Sannin, Mutuo floated to the panting Anko. Are you alright? Anko looked up at the Pokemon, a hand to her throat as she caught her breath. Yeah, fine, what the hell are you? Mutuo considered her question, eventually deciding to stretch the truth. I am a summons of the Pokemon clan. We are new to Konoha. Really? Then you won't mind telling me who your summoner is? Mutuo gave a smile. I'm afraid that I can't divulge that information. However, your Hokage knows of us. Mutuo looked down the path of destruction he had made while fighting Orochimaru before turning back to Anko. Tell the Hokage what has happened and tell him that the Fox's first two senseis will ensure that no one else interferes with the second exam. He will know what it means. Before Anko could respond, Mutuo teleported away. The snake mistress of Konoha got to her feet and looked down the clear and obvious path the Pokemon made as he chased down her former teacher. Giving a low whistle, Anko rubbed the back of her head. Man, wait till I tell Nai about this. Lucario sat cross-legged on a stone situated in a small hollow, a small but surprisingly roomy cavern beneath what was probably the largest and oldest tree in the Forest of Death, his human student and his teammates lying unconscious at the back of the cave. Naruto and his female teammate, Sakura, wasn't it, were fine, only suffering from exhaustion and deep bruising. It was their raven-haired teammate. What was his name again? Ah yes, Uchiha, who worried him. Physically, the ducklet but haired boy was fine, barely suffering a bruise. That is, until the strange, Sevapur-like man with the corrupted aura bit him on the neck. Now the self-proclaimed Avenger was shaking and sweating off a fever, with a 3-teardrop circle mark pulsating darkly where he'd been bit. Lucario could only watch and hope Mutuo found them soon, as the corrupted glyph infected the boy's system with its foul aura. Lucario turned his attention to Naruto. The boy was lying slightly off to the side from his teammates, the shroud of corrosive red chakra surrounding him and healing his wounds necessitating the distance. It was fortunate that the pale man hadn't been able to disable Naruto's access to the Kyuubi. Lucario's musings were cut short as Mutuo appeared next to him in a flash of light. Well? Naruto and Sakura are stable, the girl only has a mild case of shock and exhaustion, and the Kyuubi is taking care of Naruto. I am worried for the Uchiha. Whatever the snake did to him, I can tell it's affecting his mind. Lucario looked at Mutuo in worry. The mark he left, I can feel a presence there. If it is not removed, I fear for the boy's sanity. Mutuo rolled Sasuke over slightly to inspect the mark. A cursed seal. If I recall what I learned of sealing from that strange man at the hot springs correctly, oh my. What? It appears that Orochimaru, the snake man, wishes to acquire young Sasuke's body for his own use. The seal seems to prepare the body for possession. In addition, it absorbs the natural energy in the air, for the bearer to use, almost as a backup power source or energy boost. However, it feels incomplete, like there is a critical piece of the puzzle missing. Lucario flicked his eyes from Sasuke to Mutuo. What do you suggest we do? This seal literally has a mind of its own. We need to remove that mind if Sasuke's mind is to remain his own. Where are Riolu and Pikachu? They are standing guard outside. Mutuo nodded. Good, I will need your help with this. Mutuo reached out, placing a paw on the foreheads of Sasuke and Lucario. Mutuo breathed deeply, his eyes closed. The air grew thick and cloying within the tree root cave, yet nary a flicker of power leaked out into the gathering night. Exhaling, 2 orbs glowing blue snapped open. Embrace eternity. Mutuo and Lucario found themselves within a mindscape in turmoil. The mindscape, which resembled the old Uchiha district, before the massacre, was falling apart. Buildings were collapsing in slow motion, even as they dissolved into nothing, a dark miasma replacing several portions of the mindscape. Mutuo gazed around the crumbling mindscape. Strange, this level of deterioration is much higher than it should be. Lucario knelt down and inspected the ground. It appears that something has been eating away at the boy's psyche for some time already. Take a look. Mutuo took note of the jagged thorns that had worked their way in between the cobblestones that made up the ground. This is not good. We need to remove this blight before we can proceed to the curse mark. If we don't, we may not have the opportunity to do so again. Lucario nodded, and the 2 Pokemon began to follow the trail of corrupted vines and creepers to their source. Naruto regained consciousness slowly, his uncovered eye blinking blearily. Sitting up, the blonde groaned as sore muscles protested. Hey Cuddles, what gives? Why am I so sore? A deep, rumbling voice answered from Naruto's mind. Kid, even when I'm healing you, even with your natural quick healing, there's only so much I can do when you go up against an S-class missing Nin. We're lucky not to have been sealed off from each other. There was a pregnant pause. And stop calling me that, it's not my name. Well, when you won't tell me your name, what else am I supposed to call you? I am not addressing you by your title, Cuddles. Blocking out any reply, Naruto looked around the cave he was in. Seeing his two teachers sitting cross-legged next to Sasuke, Naruto started to call out to them until he noticed the blue glow beneath Muto's closed eyelids and the two paws connecting the three together. Figuring it was something to do with mind-walking, and not something he wanted to interrupt, Naruto turned to check on his other teammate. Seeing that Sakura was fine, Naruto stiffly got up and went out of the cave. Upon leaving the cave, Naruto noticed two smaller Pokemon standing guard. Nodding to the yellow mouse/rabbit looking one, Naruto sat next to the one that looked like a miniature Lucario. Hey, what's up? Not much. Lucario and Muto are doing something to Sasa. Naruto looked at the small dog-like Pokemon sitting next to him. It hadn't been using telepathy of any kind. How did I understand you? The blue-black and tan-furred Pokemon looked at Naruto briefly, then shrugged. You must be Naruto, right? Muto must have put the language in there or something, you'd have to ask him. I'm Riolu, by the way, but I like to be called Rin. The foot-high yellow mouse/rabbit spoke up next with a chirp. I'm Pikachu. But you can call me Rai. Nice to meet you. Naruto scratched the back of his head. It's nice to meet you guys too. So, why are you here? Usually it's just Lucario-sensei or Muto-sensei who come here. Before the Pokemon could respond, Rai's black-tipped ears shot up on the swivel. Hey, we've got company. I don't like the way they smell, reminds me too much of Sevapers. Rai's eyes widened. Duck. Naruto and the two Pokemon dodged as a near-invisible shockwave passed through the space the trio had been. Looking to the source of the attack, they saw three genin in urban camouflage, a musical eighth note carved proudly on their hideatesh. Lucario and Muto followed the thorny creepers across Sasuke's mindscape until they came across what appeared to be a shrine being strangled by the jagged, black vines. Strange, blood-red flowers with a strange, three-curved blade shuriken design in the center of each dotted the vines on the building. Lucario reached out to touch one flower, drawing back with a hiss as several creepers shot out at him. Muto examined the shrine closely. Someone has tampered with the boy's memories. I am somewhat surprised that none of the human mind-walkers have noticed this. Lucario looked pensive. Perhaps whoever did this took steps to ensure the mind-walkers wouldn't notice it. I concur. Muto closed his eyes and began to call upon his psychic powers. However, before he could begin unraveling the false memories and planted suggestions, a chilling laugh was heard echoing through the mindscape. Kukukukuku. I don't know what you are, but I'm afraid I can't let you do that. A snake-like wraith materialized from the shadows. It may not be my handiwork, but it will make Sasuke come to me for power. Muto ignored the shade, instead turning his attention to the tangled thorns on the shrine. Lucario, I believe it's your turn to deal with the nuisance. Lucario punched his paws together, a grim smile on his face as the imprint of Orochimaru's soul shifted into a horrid mockery of human and snake. Naruto, Rin and Rai glowered at the three sound genin who had attacked them. Naruto snarled at them. Who are you? The air behind the trio shimmered before shifting into stylized night sky. A spotlight illuminated a bandage-covered boy with one visible eye, a long-sleeved kimono top and a fur cape, a spiky-haired boy in a tan tunic and leather face guards on his cheeks, and a black-haired girl wearing a gray armored vest. The bandage boy began to speak. Prepare for trouble. Make it double HM. The girl smacked the tunic-wearing boy upside the head. Make it treble. Dumbass, to show the world such devastation. To unite all peoples within our nation. To denounce the evils of truth and love. To extend our reach to the skies above. Dosa. Zaka. Kin. Team sound, blasting off with a sonic boom. Surrender now or meet your doom. Yeah. That's right. The three sound village ninja ended their spiel in various poses, eliciting sweat drops from Naruto and the two Pokemon. Naruto raised a hand in the awkward silence that followed. Are you ready to be serious now, because that was just stupid? Rin blinked. I've never seen such idiocy in my life. Rai tilted his head. Was that supposed to be intimidating? The girl, Kin, snarled at the trio. Hey, why hear that? They're mocking us. The bandaged boy, Dosu, glowered at the blonde and his companions. Let's show them why we're to be feared. Zaku? If you would. The remaining boy, Zaku, gave a malicious smirk as he held his arms straight out, revealing a hole in the palm of each hand. With pleasure, HM. Zankaha. Decapitating airwaves, Naruto, Rin and Rai were forced to dodge as a blast of air shot from Zaku's palms at them. Pumping chakra into his fingerless gloves, Naruto unsealed a pair of clawed gauntlets, the demon brother's gift to him. Snarling, he charged at Team Sound, Rin and Rai close on his heels. Naruto ignored the ongoing battle between Lucario and hybrid abomination of man and snake as he methodically worked to unravel the bindings and alterations to Sasuke's mind. While some of the bindings and seals were genius works of art, others were sloppy and haphazard in their execution, making Naruto question the mental stability of whoever it was who sealed and altered the memories before him. Lucario leapt over the abomination that was the shard of Orochimaru as it tried to eat him once again, cocking back a fist as he did so. Brick break. The attack smashed into the serpent's skull, sending it crashing down to the ground. Shaking its head, Orochimaru reared up, swinging its tail at Lucario, then following up with an open-mouthed lunge. Lucario jumped over the swung tail, gathering light energy as he did so. As the serpent's fang maw drew close, the jackal Pokemon released the energy all at once. Flash cannon! The ball of light canonied into the abomination's scaly snout, knocking it back and dazzling it. Blinded by the attack, the white-scaled monster thrashed in pain as it tried to crush its opponent. Sensing an opportunity, Lucario used an altered move he had created after observing a ninja with gravity-defying silver hair. Shadow Team. Lucario's form began to blur until several afterimages split off from him. Becoming solid and real in their own right, the clones blitzed the thrashing snake as the original fell to one knee, trying to catch his breath. That took more out of me than I thought it would. Still needs work. Forcing himself to ignore his fatigue, Lucario thrust both paws into the air, gathering and shaping aura energy as he did so. Naruto faced off against Dosu, claws dripping with blood as he dodged another singing swing of the Sound Nin's Melody Arm Gauntlet. Dried blood trickled out his ear, a remnant of the burst eardrums received when he had struck the Melody Arm with his own gauntlet. Catching Dosu off guard, Naruto managed to kick the Sound Genin in the chin with enough force to send him flying. As Dosu soared through the air, Naruto began to run through hand seals. Rin had gone after Zaku, and was skillfully dodging several air blasts from the boy's perforated palms. Zaku, while able to catch the Realist several times with his decapitating airwaves, was becoming very frustrated at their inability to harm the bipedal blue dog. Yes, the air blasts were hitting her dead on, but it was as if her body was made of steel or something. It was infuriating. Force palm. Crossing his arms to block the attack, Zaku howled in pain as the glowing paw very nearly shattered both his forearms. Nearly paralyzed by the pain, Zaku stumbled towards Dosu, his fractured arms held close to his body as the other boy started to get back up. Rin smirked as she began to focus energy into the space between her paws. Rai was having a difficult time with his opponent. As soon as he had made for kin, the raven-haired girl had thrown several handfuls of belled saban needles towards the electric mouse. Initially puzzled by the inaccuracy of the attack, Rai nearly fell over as the sound-based genjutsu began. While normally the attack on the senses were disorienting, Rai found himself unable to stand straight, his sensitive hearing amplifying the effects of the illusions. Kin smirked to herself as the small mouse-slash-rabbit thing in front of her tried to blast her with bolts of lightning, only to hit air as she threw sunban after sunban at the little thing. Leering at the yellow-furred creature, she threw a sunban that pierced its tail. As the needle stabbed into his tail, Rai saw red. Screaming in rage, the Pikachu's red cheeks sparked with energy. Shock wave! Kin's eyes widened as a shockwave of electrical energy radiated out from the strange animal before her. Screaming as her nervous system was scrambled by the lightning, Kin was sent flying into her two teammates, knocking them down in a heap. Shaking his head clear, Rai's cheeks began to crackle with barely contained power as dark clouds gathered in the sky above. As Team Sound struggled to untangle themselves, Naruto finished running through hand seals, ending on the Tora seal as Rin and Rai finished preparing their own moves. This is the end. Daimonji! Fire blast! From Naruto's mouth leapt forth a 5-point star of fire that resembled the kanji for fire. A ball of light came into being in Rin's paws. Focusing, she expelled it at speed towards Team Sound. Focus blast! Rai released his gathered energy into the clouds above the tangled-up Sound Genin. Thunder, the skies opened up, a massive bolt of lightning streaking down from the black clouds. The three attacks collided with Team Sound simultaneously, creating an explosion that sent the three Genins soaring through the sky with a scream. Naruto smirked. His adversary may have been mad and a genius, but no mere human could match wits with the clone Pokemon when it came to battles of the mind. All that was needed for the false memories and implanted suggestions to be eliminated was to remove that tangle there. As the last of Lucario's Shadow Team clones were demolished, Lucario finished gathering energy, a massive orb of aura held above his head. Leveling the sphere of roiling, twisting energies, Lucario released his control over the point on the sphere farthest from him. Although using this technique on the soul shard that was merely a fraction of both Lucario's and Orochimaru's power would be massive overkill, Lucario did not want to leave a single portion, intact or no, of the corrupted presence in Sasuke's mind. Or a storm. Orochimaru's soul shard's eyes widened as a beam of light and energy wider than it was long overcame it. No and oh. Yuck! As the aura storm engulfed the pale serpent, its screaming petered out as it was burned out of Sasuke's mind. As the final death rattle of the corrupted soul piece sounded throughout the mindscape, Mutuo smirked, pulling at a particular clump of thorns. As the remaining vines shriveled and flaked away into nothing, the memory cluster masquerading as a shrine glowed with a white light. Shading his eyes with one hand, Naruto gave a low whistle as team sound disappeared in the distance with a soft ping. Looking down, Naruto noticed a small scroll at the edge of the crater where the airborne genin had taken off from. Picking it up, he found that it was the scroll Team 7 needed to pass the second exam. Turning to show it to Rin and Rai, Naruto's attention was caught by a yell from the side. Dynamic entry! Naruto turned just in time to catch a sandaled foot to his face, sending him rolling head over heels across the battle-torn clearing. Coming to a rest upside down against a tree, the only thing Naruto could make out over the ringing in his ears was someone apologizing profusely for hitting him. For whatever reason Naruto could not determine, everything tasted green. What if Naruto becomes a Pokemon master? End here and thanks for watching my video till the end.